That's a little bit better. It's a little bit better. I really need it to be up higher, but we're gonna go with this. All right, yeah, that's a little bit better. All right. Welcome in. We're just getting started. We're building our panel. I think this is a conversation that is actually shoot way overdue. Way overdue. Let's see. Draw in. All right, let's see. 1 second, y'all. Okay. All right. Anybody want to come up and state their opinion? But last night we had a really good discussion, and I was like, you know what? Let me not wait till 10 o'clock to talk about this topic, because at night we do our energy recalibration sessions. So today, before I go on live at 10 tonight, we're going to discuss this because I believe this is very important. I believe it's so important that not opening up a discussion for it would actually be a waste of resources, if we're going to be honest. Come in. Anybody have any opinion on this topic? Should women be written back into the creation story? Yes or no? Do you believe that this is the source of the problem that we have today in society as women, and why there's so much imbalance and why we suffer still today from a patriarchal society? Do you feel that women being removed from the Trinity and from the creation story has a positive or negative effect on how we run our families, how women are treated, why we're having such strong disagreements today as men and women? Why has the woman been removed from the very beginning when we know that only a woman, only a person or any life comes in through a woman's body? So the very vessel that life actually uses to bring life into this dimension is left out of the most important story in history. Why is that? Love my chart. Thank you, Energetic Flow, Intuitive Talks. And thank you for being here last night in the live. Man, it was so nice. We had a really good time. We had a lot of MBMs going on, and I can't wait to get back on tonight at 10 and find out what people actually dreamt about. Like, had somebody told me they dreamed for the first time last night. Thank you. Thank you. Your support is definitely needed and appreciated. I hope you are able to join back tonight at 10, because we're going to have another energy recalibration session. And yeah, we basically creating a safe space for people to come in and talk about the things that have been holding them back. And sometimes you don't even know what's been holding you back until you hear it. Like, for example, a lot of women don't even realize that our place in the creation story is part of the reason that we feel so unappreciated. It's like we give our life to bringing new life into this world, and nobody really understands what we're doing through the birthing process just to be removed. Are you kidding me? Nah, we got to talk about this. And I know some people out there who want to talk about it. So if you're in the live right now, let's draw our people in. Let's draw our people in. Put the word Put the number in the chat. Let's put the number in. How many people do we want in here? Let's put the number 500. If you're in the chat, just write 500 in the chat. We're gonna call our people in to be able to, because this is a topic that can't go unignored for any for much longer. Thank you. 500. We're calling 500 people in who, because let me tell you, where people meet and where people come together, change happens. So like it, share it, let's get it out. Let's expand the conversation to the world. Appreciate you all posting 500. We're just posting 500 in the chat right now just to keep calling in people and sharing the live, reposting it. I don't really know how long this is going to go, but we're still going to do our energy recalibration session tonight. But right now, we need to have this conversation. I woke up with this like in my head. So Spirit was like, okay, go ahead and put it up. Let's just do it. Let's just do it. So here we are. But should women be written back into the creation story? Yes or no? Do you agree? And if not, come up and tell us why. I think I got somebody at my door. A lot of people are complacent with just praying to a father, Heavenly Father. Today, I want to thank you for this, Heavenly Father. Thank you for that, Heavenly Father. And frankly, it just, when I hear it all the time, now because I'm the one who is like aware of it and pointing it out, I want you to hear yourselves when you pray. If you're praying only to the Father, that means that you're praying to the left masculine visible world, when everything that creates the visible world is darkness, it's unknown, it's invisible. Does that make sense? All right. So we got our first person up here. Welcome in, love.
Hey, Sensei, how are you today?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much for being our first panelist. I'm doing great though. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Much gratitude for that. This story is just like so intriguing and mesmerizing to me because I continue to always want to include all parties in the creation. I don't just love mother, but I love father, and I definitely love the children. But this world just wants to leave us out. It wants to oppress us. And it's just baffling to me because without us, they cease to exist. Everything ceased to exist. Everything started with us, and everything will, if it once it reverts, it will revert back to us. So if it basically aborts anything, it's going to be them. It's not going to be us. But they want to believe that it would be us, but it doesn't go together, because if we're the portal and the womb is the portal, if you're not coming through a portal, love, how are you getting here?
Exactly. Well stated. And so much in what you said, that we could, talk about for hours, but I definitely appreciate you coming in and giving your opinion. And I agree. And I'm going to get to, is it Divinity? I can't see the whole
Divine
name.
Duo. Hi,
Divine
Sensei. How
Duo.
are you, ladies? How are ya?
We're doing great. Thank you for coming in and being a panelist. I'm going to definitely have you speak your opinion about this in just a second. I just want to address what was already said from Energetic Flow. But yeah, we're the portal. There's no life without without the female. Life, that's not even what we see mimic in our reality. So it's like, for me, for us to always pray to a father and not say, Heavenly Mother, we appreciate you, or Divine Mother, or given any credit to the mother, I think that's actually what's creating delusion in the world and what creates separation from within. And we already know, as within, so without. We already know that what we experience on the inside is going to be reflected in our outer world. So when you come in with a religion that only honors the father, to me, this supports patriarchy. This to me is by design. This to me is how we're separated. So yeah, go ahead and unmute and just read the question and then answer. And then once you answer, you can say, whether you land or not on that answer.
Okay.
Yes, definitely. First, I want to just, wish everybody a grand rising. Happy Saturday.
Happy
I
Saturday.
I came across your page a long time ago, and I just love your content. I believe that, especially for a woman of color, a lot of our history and a lot of our beliefs have been eradicated, and it felt really good to understand how how powerful we are as women, because a lot of our role in the world is definitely erased constantly. So should I believe that we should be written back? I definitely do. It helps us to be rooted in who we are. It helps us to know our worth and value ourselves. It also helps community. I do believe that a lot of difference between other communities and our community is the generations. What are we teaching our children? And if we're growing up our young ladies to have self-respect, they also have to know their power. And I don't think we know our power sometimes because it's not written. A lot of a lot of women in history have done so many powerful things, and it's not only because of their talents and their intelligence, it's because of their spirituality and their power. And it did start with us. When I read the story of Adam and Eve, I really had to learn Black history in order to break that story down because it never made sense to me. And when I heard you on your page, I said, this makes sense to me. This is what I know. And that is what it is. We were needed, for a very certain thing, and that is to be able to produce. And we do leave a very strong imprint on our children generationally. And these imprints are great things that can carry them to be successful. And I believe that people of color, I really wish one day we do collaborate, especially right now with everything that's going on in the world. This is our time to liberate and teach our children about what's the truth. And reverse the brainwash that we've been told. So that's just how I feel. I feel like we've been brainwashed. There's inaccurate stories of who we are and our role. Black women are very powerful. Women in general are powerful, but specifically my black queens, I believe we are very powerful. And I believe we are in us, I believe that we have God. I believe we are gods. Um, that's my belief, and I hope no one is offended by that. I'm not into religion. I'm more into spirituality, and I believe that Black women were primary. Yes.
Well, we'll definitely have a topic one day on race and Black women and Black men and Caucasian and Asian women and men and all the different races around the world. Honestly, simply because I believe everyone has a part to play. And if we all understood how that we're different for a reason, because we have different roles in the world, and we start appreciating each other for those roles that we're supposed to play, then I believe we will all get along a lot better, because why be the same? Why compare each other when we're so different, right? So that is definitely going to be a topic. But as far as should women be written back in the creation story, is your answer yes on this?
My answer is yes. And the only reason why I correlated to Black history because I wouldn't have known about women being in the creation story if it wasn't for me reading different content. Yes, please. So
Ah,
thank you. Thank you so
gotcha.
much. And we can talk all day, but I'm definitely going to be listening, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you for being
You're
here.
welcome.
And I'll be calling on you ladies for some opinions that come up, because eventually we're going to get somebody up here that says, no, we shouldn't be. And this is the type, we're not going to gang up on them. We're going to hear them out and let them speak their piece. But we definitely want to do it in a way where it's constructive and not combative. And I think that you both are well spoken. So as long as you want to have time to stay up here on the panel, I'm going to keep you up here and we'll get some more people up here to engage in this topic. And it's okay if you don't agree. We're not going to attack you, but we do want to understand your why. So if you are out there and you feel like the creation story is balanced how it should be, you don't feel like anything should be changed in all of the things that we learn in religion, particularly this, then come on up and give us your traditional way of thinking. Because let me tell you, this won't be here. It won't be like this for very long. Because the feminine in all of us, not just women, but the feminine in men is rising up too. I see so many men actually understanding that they have been taught to hate women, to dominate women. They have been taught to oppress women. They have been taught to ignore the feminine inside of themselves. They can't even cry and express their own emotions without being called weak. And when men realize that it actually takes more strength to be vulnerable, they come on here and they're telling other men, no, we got this wrong. This is not even real. This is from a patriarchal society. This is not even what we see in real life. We don't see a father and a child without the mother. So what is the real reason that our religion has been centered around a father with an absentee mother when most of the time we see who absent? Are we praying to the father that we wish we had? Think about it. Are we praying to the way that we wish our family was with all three present in one home? Is this wishful thinking the reason we created a religion out of it? What is the real hurt behind a man who feels that they must leave their mother out of creation when that's how they got into this world? I'm just asking some questions that we should be asking ourselves, because make it make sense. Make it make sense. And if you want to come up and agree, you can also come up and agree and let us hear the reason you believe that the woman should be written back into the creation story. But if you don't agree, we also want to hear why. I think we got some more people coming up. Let's see. Draconian Serpent, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Read the question out loud, state your answer, and then tell us where you land on your answer.
I need to take a deep breath first.
I understand. Welcome in.
Okay. All right. So the question, should a woman be written back into creation story, yes or no? My answer is yes, because without the woman there will be no father, and without the divine, like the woman, there will be no child. As for what you stated about the masculine, so my past religion was Islam, and I do see their perspective, their point of view, and how do they perceive things from the principles and the rules that is written in the books, right? And if I would say for them, no, you are, do you, asking that question, for an example, should a woman be written back into the creation story? They will say, yes, women should be respected. A woman should be, the mother is very important. In the books and in articles, they said the mother, you have to respect and honor your mother, or you will go to hell, like you'll be sinful, God will be like angry at you. So yes, a woman should be like respected and honored. But in a way, when I see it now, when you ask this question, what I see is from my own point of view that I left, and I'm more awakened, and I do see even I don't want to get out of subject. So what do I see is the oppression. She have to cover up. She
Mm.
shouldn't put a perfume, or she will be in adultery if a man smelled her. She shouldn't show skin. She shouldn't speak loudly. She shouldn't laugh loudly, or else. Or like, even if one strand of hair, that will be one charcoal of hell for her. And then, like, they teach us in schools,
Mm.
and in like high school and like secondary school, they teach us, if you showed your hair, there will be one charcoal of hell waiting for you. How many hair do you possess? Can you count it? And we say, as children, we say no. And then they will say for us, like, can you imagine, like, you're going to suffer, you're going to hell, don't show your hair, don't, like, even if you put a perfume, or like, the woman spoke loud, or like laugh loudly. And I'm like, if she laughed loudly, then like, she might well as like be naked in front of men and like walk. Like, this is my father, what he taught me, and our ancestors, like, even like in our other men, they will say that. And don't forget the stigma, the shame, the guilt of her, like, even talking, or like, even if, even in nowadays, some women, yeah, they do show some little bit of skin, they do show a little bit of hair. But when we gather around me, like, what I saw is like, she's sinful, she got her hair out, she's will put perfume, she will go to hell, she doesn't know God, she's not listening, she should be cut
Wow.
off, she be disowned, and other things.
Like
Now,
public humiliation and
yes,
public, like
yes,
a public stoning without the stones.
yes. Yes, absolutely. It can go to solitary confinement at some point. If she
Wow.
had a relationship with a man, because they don't want some shame, they will not bring them to the police station for them to be like fined or like jailed or whatever it might be, what the judge will say. So they will put them in solitary confinement, and this is what I have witnessed personally, and I'm bringing it out here, and I'm not afraid to share it anymore.
Wow. First of all, let me acknowledge
Oof,
what you just did, girl. And I see why you had to take a deep breath. So thank you for
what
coming
about
up.
safety?
It's okay. This is a safe space for women. If I'm not going to do, if I do anything, it's going to create a safe space for you to get up here and tell your story, because actually I follow this girl. We're friends now on, we're going to do some work together, but she's an ex, her Islam is her ex religion, and she has basically come out and spoken out about all the things that you all have went through and what women are
Hmm.
taught. And what you just said mimicked exactly what she spoke on. It blows my mind. We don't really understand how oppressed women still are in other places around the world. And to be able to not show your hair and to be able to not even enjoy your own beauty. I
Yeah,
honestly, if women are not in the world, what do men have? First of all, they wouldn't be here. Let's acknowledge that, because they have to come through a woman. But the whole point is for beautiful things to be reflected upon and enjoyed. And when we look at a flower, do we want to just cover all the beauty up? Like, if you're going to make women cover up, you might as well cover all the flowers up. You might as well cover up all the beautiful animals that we like to stare and look at. It is it is the lack of men being able to control their own urges, the reason that they have to create a God that watches over them, okay? And it's a male God, because they have to create something in order to keep them in line, because otherwise they would not. And then part of that is making women cover themselves, but it's all about the male and him not being able to control his own urges and his own temptations. And so, thank you again. And we're going to come back to that. So, um, if you don't mind staying up here, And then I know also it's difficult speaking in an audience if you haven't been on live before.
Sure.
So I know how nervous that can make you. So congratulations, you did very well. And the more you're up here, the longer you're up here, the easier it gets.
If you
So
want to share something that your friend, if you want to mention to her, when I did some work with Mother Lilith, Infernal Divine, I spoke to her about religion and what is like really written down in my subconscious. What is going on in the central nervous system? Please show it to me. Guide me. Let me know. Tell me what it is. And then when I did a spell to show me, the same day she showed me, like, even when we do pray, we do a surrender sign with both of palms of our hand. We'll bring it up like surrender sign. And we do pray 5 times a day. And this sign that we do, so 1, then 2, then 3, so 3, it will be at least 17 times a day, surrender sign. And even like kneeling and even like bowing. So we kneel for like, so 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 16, 17 times, and bowing that will be maybe 20 times a day, just a day. And this one, like the main, there is some extra prayers that we should do to go to heaven. It would be good Muslims, and we have a competition to do. So we have to be really good Muslims in order for us to have higher levels of heaven, because there are 7 levels of heaven, 7 levels of hell. So we have to really be careful to have a competition between all of us.
wow.
And we're memorizing Quran even like in our childhood. Like we are 7 years old and we are not listening, we will get some lashes because we are not listening and we are not memorizing articles and hadith and Quran.
Oh,
So
wow.
and
Wow.
This is
times,
in the religion Islam?
yes,
Yes.
Oh
and
yeah,
5
I
times
would
a
have,
day.
yeah, I would have not ever been able to participate in that. My little spirit is a rebel. I would have not been able to do that. 20
Mhm.
times a day.
Yes,
Wow.
It's
and
mind
there are,
blowing. And I'm sorry, go ahead. I'm finished. I want to ask you ladies too what your religion is, just so we can have that in context after she finishes. Definitely.
and there is something called adhan. Adhan is they recite it 5 times a day in microphones everywhere. And they say, come and pray if you want to succeed in life. Come and pray if you don't want to, like, if you want to go to heaven. Come and pray, leave everything, come and pray. So even if you're tired, abandon yourself, go pray. Even if you want to sleep, go and pray. If someone is sick, you have to pray while you're even in your bed in your sickness. If you are in coma, at least they have to like do wudu. So you cannot leave a prayer. Like there's no excuses. If she had her period, she's not allowed to touch anything quote unquote holy, like Quran, or like go to pray, you know. And yeah, this is like what she showed me about. And even like English is not my first language.
Numerology.
Yes, yes. Okay, so when I counted some numbers together, I don't have my the note. When I counted some numbers together, it's like always a karma. Number 8, repetition and cycles, and number 5. Number 5 is like, it's not harmony. It was something about like initiation or something. Not initiation. There was numbers, but it was leading to karmic cycle, initiation, and like authority. So they also use numerology. See, I say it right. Okay, they used it in order for us to be really like attached to that subconsciously. So it'll
Wow.
be really harder for us to leave.
So it sounds like it's embedded in every aspect of your um, learning so that you can stay in a submissive role to men. And honestly, that's what it's sounding like. The more you talk, what I'm hearing is that religion was created to suppress women.
It is.
Now,
I agree.
what did you grow up as, energetic flow? Did you grow up Christian or
No, well, I mean that's the terminology they were using. But my
mhm.
mother was a deaconess, and I was raised in a Baptist church, and you already know how they do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, other religion, have I been attracted to men in other religions? Yes, I absolutely have. But it's then when we get to a place of we're having certain conversations, and that kind of disconnects, because in this particular realm, everybody wants it's like cliques. I say cliques, like in high school. Well, what are you? What are me? And then we kind of bond because we're identifying with these
Mm-hmm.
self-indoctrinated labels. But when I'm asked, well, energetic, what is your religion? I am that I am. I will be what I will be. I am becoming what I am becoming. Well, what does that mean? If you got to ask me that, then I kind of end the conversation when having this kind of conversation with a male or woman, because sometimes I done had conversations with women, and they're always like, they're always, when they talk about God, they're always talking about the Father, they're always talking about the man. And I'm like, have you ever thought that God could be a
A
woman?
woman, right.
And you talk about they will run from you, honey, like you just tried to put a root or something on them. So it's just like you have to find your tribe, and you have to meet people where they are. I leave them in love and not in judgment. But yeah, I it's just unfortunately that a lot of us, and my heart goes out, because the women, I know what we were before we got to where we are, and
Right.
we have to do the work to return there. And I'm just really, really happy to have met you, because I'm just like being connected to my tribe without even knowing I'm connected to my tribe. And I just feel called to do things without even having to ask to step in and do it. It's just, the best way I can explain it, Sensei, is when you meet someone that you're connected to, you just have all of this love and admiration, and you just want them to be as successful as can be, and you do whatever you can do. But I still also have to love the ones that's just not there. They're just, unfortunately, they're not there. And that's not always easy, but I have to extend grace.
That's true. And thank you for coming up
You're welcome.
and saying your piece. It definitely has a place in what we're talking about tonight or today. I'm still on tonight. You said a lot of important things in that. I grew up in a Christian denomination, Cumberland Presbyterian. I grew up Presbyterian. I don't even know what that means looking back on it, because you know what? I don't know enough about all of the other denominations to even know what we all do different. I just know that the belief system that I had was always praying to a masculine deity, one that I could never see, one that I didn't know how to talk to. My father wasn't even around, so how am I going to know how to talk to and pray to a man? Like, to me, this is very damaging for females. And the more that I listen to draconian spirit talk about it, what was taught in Islam, it definitely confirms that religion was created for men, because before that we had women. We depended upon the wisdom that came from women, and women would get together and we would have circles and we would discuss things, because we have the ability to see in the blind spots.
Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. We were making the rules and regulations. We were making, I kid you not, Sensei, that was part of my dream last night. Oh, wow. I'm so emotional.
The more that we come together and we talk about this, the more we'll all start remembering different aspects of our past. Was I there not physically in this body, but I was there spiritually in my ancestors. And I know that we all have multiple lives. This is definitely not, death is just a transition, you know. Death is not the end, it's a rebirth. And we have multiple deaths before we even have a physical one. So, but someone said something in the audience, and I wanted to go back to it. Let's see, she said, let me, the mother was the first.
Can I chime in? I'm so
Yeah, please,
sorry. I
please,
just
please.
wanted to give everyone space to speak. I was just thinking about the topic that everyone was talking about, especially, I'm sorry, I think her name is Draco. What's her name again?
Draconian spirit.
Jaconi. I apologize. When you mentioned Islam,
Oh,
it
serpentine.
really, Serpentine is your name?
Draconian serpentine. I said draconian spirit, and I just wanted to make that
It's a
correction.
draconian serpentine. Sorry. When she was mentioning Islam, I studied religion purposely because I've always been confused. I was raised up as I would say like Christian. My mom was Jehovah Witness, my dad was Anglican, and reading the Bible just never really settled with me. I never really understand why, like we're speaking, like woman was always to be inferior. And over the years, I just started to read more. I started to pray, and I started to also respect the abilities that I had. Like, I have a really strong instinct. I also am a dreamer. And I said, well, what does this come from? Like, it can't just be that I'm just this human being. I'm just nothing, you know? And so I started to read about history, and I learned that a lot of people in our world had erased our ancestry, our beliefs, and they made laws in place so that we won't know who we are. And up until today, a lot of our minds are psychologically shackled. That's the reason why we believe these things, and that's the reason why we continue with this um generational, beliefs in these religions that make us inferior. And we do know our power, and that's what we're fighting with now in the world. I think a lot of women, we're so resilient, and I think we need to respect the fact that a lot of women paved the way for today to happen. A lot of rights that were established for us is because of women fighting for it, and it takes resilience, it takes power, and it takes strength. And for me, it's sad to hear these stories too, especially if you were in a religion that you had to. It's like it feels degrading when I was hearing um Jacranio Serpentine speak. I felt like, why would you want to treat a woman like that? Why would you want to treat any human like that? It felt like enslavement, if I'm not mistaken. And we deserve to be treated with respect and better than that, because we have a role. Men have a role too, but we have a powerful role too. And like we said, it's about us continuing to educate each other, showing respect to each other, just like how we are right now in this panel. I love what I'm hearing, and I just love the stories and the vulnerability, and knowing that it is a safe space for us to come together and just educate each other on the experiences and who we are as women, and how could we regain our power back.
Absolutely. Thank you for adding your piece in. I definitely didn't want to overlook you, so thank you for speaking up. And ladies, all three of you have very strong points that you're making, which is the whole reason that you're in this panel. So thank you for being here. What I saw in the comments was the question, does energy have gender? Camilla asked, does energy have gender? And we're going to answer this. So before we do, let's have a moment where everyone taps the screen and let's get the likes up, because we want to get more people into the panel. We want to get some men into this room just to hear their ideology about this creation story, see where they stand, and also be able to have a conversation without arguing and without men and women being put up against each other. I've seen it so many times on this app, and I'm over it because it's hate. It's just expanding the disconnect and the division between men and women. And we're not having this discussion to divide us. We're actually having this discussion to unite us. So the question was, actually, let's do a 10-second tap the screen and share live share. So I'm going to count down and we're going to do that really quickly. That's 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Tap, 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 tap. 3, 2, and 1. All right, so let's reset. The question is, should women be written back into the creation story, yes or no? And if you have an opinion on this, please come up and share it. I'm going to address Kamia's question. Does energy have gender? Yes. Energy does have gender. And a lot of the times we've been taught that it doesn't, because if you understood that electricity has to have three currents. Well, actually two currents. It has two currents that has to flow. And it has to be balanced when it flows. Okay. So electricity or electromagnetism, that is the gender. Electricity is masculine and magnetism is feminine. And male and female are not just genders. That's the most important thing that we need to understand here, is that male and female are not just genders. These are archetypal energies, archetypal currents of energy, because they do different things in the body. If it was all just one, we wouldn't have left brain and right brain. Why does there have to be division in the brain? Why does one half do one thing and the other half do another thing? Why do we see ourselves show up as male and female? Because we are emanated from these currents, just to show that they have roles to play. Now, the roles that we've been forced in are man-made, and this religion, what we're talking about, is a man-made forced role that we've been conned into playing. For lack of a better word, we're just going to say conned, because that's what it is. So if anyone has a question about why the mother is missing, or whether she should be there or not, let's talk about it. We got our panel up here. They're ready to debate, but not in a way where we're causing chaos. They're just here to like help show why we should be in the creation story. Don't feel like we're going to gang up on you. We're not. We just want to know if what you believe is based on what you grew up being taught, or if you truly believe that everything in the creation story sounds like it makes sense. Because to us, it doesn't. To us, it doesn't. So if you believe, yes, we both have masculine and feminine energy. Girl, you so good at like recapping. Sometimes I don't know if AI is doing it or you. When I see your name and I'm like, is that AI? No, that's actually, I love having
No,
you in
it's
here.
me, because I do my due diligence. If I don't fully understand something, I'm very cautious of not misleading anyone. I want to make sure that, you know, a person understand exactly what I'm saying, because I may say it one way to you because you may be somewhere that someone else is not. They might misconstrue it. So I just was like, let me go back and kind of clean this up just in case. So Sensei can continue her elaboration, but the person doesn't misconstrue what I'm saying.
No, you do a really good job. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We're going to accept Iman's invitation. He said there is a God named Yahweh. He misspelled it, but we know what he means. And we breathe his name and his creation. So we would like, first of all, welcome to the chat, Iman. And first read the prompt here, answer it, and then let us know
Okay.
where you end.
Okay. Wait, so I say my stuff right now? Like, do I talk
Yes.
right now?
Yeah, you're on live. You're ready. Just come in and read the prompt and tell us what your answer is.
Yeah. Do I tell
Okay.
you my reasons why?
Well, should women be
Okay.
should women be written back into the creation story? Yes or no?
Like, what do you mean?
Okay. So right now we pray to a masculine God, to the Father. And your comment said there is a God named Yahweh, and we breathe his name and his creation. So that means that you
I feel
acknowledge
like I feel like
that means that you're acknowledging that
no, I'm
God
sorry.
is,
I
is
just feel like
masculine, right? Is that what I'm hearing?
no, I just feel like he no, I feel like he holds feminine and both masculine energy. So it's like, but I would just call him a he. I don't know if that makes sense, but I feel like he holds both of it. Like, no gender at all. I don't know. I don't know
Okay,
if you get
all
what I'm
right.
saying.
I think I hear a little bit of confusion, and I'll tell you why I feel like you might have some confusion. Um, Even though you feel like God is dual gender, we refer to God as he, which makes God masculine. And
Right.
the reason that you probably are confused is because you were taught that God was masculine. And part of you disagrees with that, but you still haven't fully stepped into your comfort zone of calling God a she because it feels wrong because it goes against your teaching. Does is
Awesome.
that am I hitting on it?
Right. Wait, so you think
That's,
it's
I
a
think that you
she?
haven't. I think that you haven't reached a place where you are comfortable asking questions in regards to, yes, I believe it's a he, but something is telling me in you, you just haven't reached a place to ask the question of why can't it be a she, or why isn't it a she? But something in you is resonating that is more to it than the story that you have been given, which is that is just father.
Now that's just what we're picking up, but we'd love to
Yeah,
hear
right.
you
Yeah.
respond. And we
Wait,
may have
We're
honestly,
only
because
sharing with
I'm a
you
little
so that you
I'm a
can
little confused.
share
'Cause
your
I
resonated truth.
go ahead. I'm sorry, sweetheart. You said you're a little
okay.
confused.
So like, what else do you guys?
So the
Yeah, I'm
question
a little
is,
confused. Like, what do you guys exactly believe in? Is the whole thing
that's all right.
So
I'm gonna tell you because it sounds like you came in here a little late, and you just we're gonna reset the prompt. The question is, should women be written back into the creation
right?
story, yes or no? Right now, women have been removed from the creation story. We pray to a masculine God, and they've even called the child a son, eliminating women from this trinity. So we get Father, Son, Holy Spirit, but where's the mother? Even though we understand that that spirit is feminine, we don't include that archetypal energy, which is so important for us as children to understand balance. This creates imbalance inside of a person. Just to pray to a father, could you imagine growing up with just a father without a mother? Well, that's what religion teaches, is that the mother is absent. So
and even with
the
even
question
Sensei with
is, one second, just real quick. The question is, should women be written back into the creation story? Do you believe yes or no based on what I just said? Let's get your answer. And if you
I
want
mean, I
time to
guess
think about
so.
it, if you want time to think about it, just stay there for a second and we'll go to the next
Right.
panelist who just joined and we'll let her answer the question. Is it sovereign?
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. And then we're going to come back to you because I know you have something to say on that energetic flow. So just one second. We're going to get
okay,
sovereign in to stay on the topic.
cool beans.
Sovereign, you can unmute your mic, love.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Me personally, I think they just cut out the women, not only above, but so below. Because I had a dream. I'm just going to tell y'all my dream. I'm not going to try to explain it because sometimes, everybody's shown stuff.
So before
But
you
there's,
tell us about your dream, Sovereign,
hmm
go ahead and read the topic and give us your answer so we know where you stand.
well, well, that's the point. You know, do I feel like we need to be put back in? I don't think we left. They just did not put our story in. You get what I'm saying?
That's
They
the
do say they
that's what
do
we're
say
saying.
marriage.
Should they put our story back in? Should they reveal our story instead of leaving it the same?
I don't, I can't honestly answer that. I think it's up to each individual.
Okay.
Because me personally, I know I'm seen. You get what I'm saying?
You
I
know you're
don't have
what?
to seen. You
Seen.
don't
Okay.
have to honestly, yeah. You don't have to actually be put in a book to be seen. You get what I'm saying? Like put out there. But they showed me a dream that if you look at the pyramid from below, you have three sides, but no one's looking at the top. That's four. Everything is duality and in fours. You have two arms, two legs. You have east, west, south, north. Wait a minute, east, west, south, and north. You have fire, water, earth, and air. So they took out not only the mother, but the daughter. So the creation was showing me not only did they take out the mother, they took out the daughter. There's two above, which is the father mother, and there's two below, which is the father, which is the son daughter. So they took out the women altogether, and the universe was showing me that. So it's not, but like I told them, I don't care to be seen. You know what I'm saying? Because I know who I am.
Okay.
So I don't, so I think it's up to really each and every individual if the mother or the daughter should be put back in.
Okay. Thank you for giving your opinion about that. I think that energetic, excuse me, energetic flow wanted to address something.
What I was going to say is that a lot of people do not, because it depends on how you were raised. In Baptists, they were being deceptive. They were using the word Holy Ghost. And in some places, you hear the Holy Spirit. But for a lot of people, what I realize, they're not even aware that the Holy Spirit is the divine feminine
Right.
in the equation.
Right.
That's all.
Okay. Yes. So I want to go back and address what Sovereign Immunity said, that she doesn't really care or think that she thinks that it's an individual thing. I want to give you this perspective. If women had been taught that they were a vital part of creation from the very beginning, if they can teach that men are in the book, they can definitely teach that women are in a book. I feel that the reason we have been removed is because our power is feared. And if, as long as we are taught that women shouldn't be seen, which is, I don't know if you were up here when Draconian Serpent spoke, but her whole religion is based on women not being seen. It's very oppressive. And that's the problem with not teaching it, is and leaving it up for people to figure it out on their own, because her religion teaches that women shouldn't be seen, that they should, if any part of their hair is exposed, there's a piece of charcoal in hell waiting for them. They are taught that a woman's beauty basically is their fault and should be covered up because men are tempted by their beauty. So they're the ones that should be covered up in order for men to not be tempted. So this is the teaching that is going on around the world, and why, if it is taught back into a book or oral tradition or wherever it can be taught, that it should actually it will make those changes subconsciously that have been embedded in us, that we should submit, that we should hide ourselves, that we are not that important. Because everything that we see in the world, everything that we see in real life is that life comes from a woman's body. Not saying that men didn't have a part in creating it, that masculine energy wasn't involved. But when you see that a woman brings life into the earth, but she's not in the creation story, it creates a disconnect and confusion in the mind. When we pray to a masculine and we don't acknowledge the feminine, we're cutting off a part of ourselves. And to grow up having to figure this out as an adult is too long. I understand, yes, that it's an individual thing, but if it's taught from the very beginning, we get a head start on understanding our part in creation and how important we are, versus having to wait and figure it out later and then realize, oh, I am important, I think. Why should we have to play a guessing game with that when it can just be taught the same way that it's taught that God is a man? So that's my piece on that. And if anyone else wants to, chime in.
I would love to.
Yeah, absolutely.
I had 6 kids. I had 6 kids. Like I tell my kids, stop looking outside. Even if it says it in the Bible, stop looking outside of you and look within you. In our household, I'm the mother. I'm not missing. I was never missing. So we have to teach our kids or our family at home and stop looking from outside of us to teach us what's going on in our household or in our lives. So me personally, my children know that, hey, if there was a man, there was a woman. How was you created? So it starts from in the house. So you can't go by what everybody say, because everybody's perception is different. So stop, even it says it in the Bible, stop looking outside of yourself and look within and what's going on, the patterns within your own life, with your own families, and don't look for other people to tell you how to live your life and how it's supposed to be ran. It's your life. Can't no one eat, sleep, breathe, doodle, die for you but you. So your teaching comes from within the household, within you. Stop looking for a book to teach you. Stop looking for a book to show you.
Did your kids go to school?
Yes, they did.
So they were taught to look to the teacher for
They were
knowledge and wisdom,
no,
right?
they were taught. No, they were taught at home. It started from home because remember, I birthed them. They didn't go to school until like they were 6 or 7. So they already knew before they even went to school for someone else to change who they already was taught. It starts when they're babies, when they're little. You teach them then, and once you want, I hate to say program, but it's so many ways it's programmed. Once they are taught at home as babies or programmed at home, they already know when they get out here in this world what to look for and what to do. They already know.
Do you think they know that at 5 and 6? Do they understand the concept at the age of 5 and 6 to look within?
You said teaching at school. I didn't
Yeah,
take them to a church. I didn't never took it to a church.
I
They
didn't
don't
say
know. Oh
church.
no, no, no. I'm just saying. You said teach them at school. Teaching at school. They just taught them their one, two, threes, ABCs. But as far as religion, we didn't
Wait, let's
grow up
stop
with.
there. Let's stop there
Uh-huh.
because I think
Wait,
you're
she
misunderstanding me.
yeah,
You're
yeah.
misunderstanding what I'm saying.
Okay, what you saying? Teaching then? Okay, teaching.
It doesn't matter what teaching they receive. If
Uh
they go to
huh.
school, they're being taught from an outside person.
Right.
And they're definitely being
But
influenced
but they're not being
regardless of
taught. But
what you're
they're not
teaching
being
them at
taught
home.
religion though.
It doesn't
Religion. They was
matter.
okay.
It
Okay, but
doesn't
they was.
matter.
Conditioning,
Yeah.
What I'm saying is they're still being taught to look to the outside for knowledge through a
Right.
teacher.
Right. But they were
I'm saying,
already taught at
hold
home.
on.
Okay.
But at the age of 5 and 6, you
Mm-hmm.
can't conceptualize that I'm supposed to go within for all of my answers.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
that's where scientists says actually children come out reading if you read to them when they're in the womb. So I can't honestly say that. And I did read to my kids in the womb. I read to them, I sung to them, everything while they was in the womb.
Yes,
And
I
so,
do too.
so they had, so they
each
even one of
soul.
my kids, one of my kids now, he's in the military. He's know how to speak Spanish because I taught him Spanish while he was in the womb. Not because he came out knowing Spanish, not because it was taught at school. It's because I was doing it when I was pregnant with him. So they do know. They honestly do. Don't ever ever underestimate kids. Kids are smarter than what you think.
No, we're not underestimating
I think
children
there's a
here.
disconnect in the conversation.
There is, and I'm going to clear it up. So everything that you just said, we believe. That's not something that is new here on my live. Is the intelligence of kids. Actually, I think kids are our teachers. Let's get that straight. Let's get that out there. I think kids are here to remind us how to feel deeper because they come in knowing how to feel. They come in with so much connection to source that adults get disconnected from. Kids are not that complicated. We're on the same page there. Okay. We're not underestimating children, but children are most receptive at the ages of birth all the way to the age of 6 or 7. And whatever they are taught from what is a seeming authority, whether it's their school teacher, whether it's their mother, whether it's their father, whether it's religion,
Whether it's the kids on the playground.
it doesn't matter. They are
And
going to be in.
you just answered your own question though, sweetheart. I taught my kids since they were in the womb to the
Let
age
me
of 5 and 6.
let
And
me
then they
finish.
went to school, so they already knew the information before they even went to school.
Let
It
me
was already programmed in them.
let me finish.
Hmm.
Let me finish. Whatever children see as an authority figure, they are going to take on the influence of whatever that authority figure is teaching them. At some point, kids get new influences. You're not the only person that influences them in their life. Sometimes kids will meet other kids older than them and they may like the way they dress, they may like the car that they drive, they may like the women that they have, and they get those other influences. So it's not saying that you didn't do a good job. It's just that your children are going to run into some other things in life that go completely against what you taught them. And they are going to question what they were taught at some point.
My kids are now 30 on up, and they haven't questioned nothing yet. And I have 9 grandkids who they told me to help raise them because they didn't want them to as well be influenced by the world. So my grandkids learned the same thing my kids did as babies. And I'm not saying my kids are no better than no one else's kids, but they have not yet, just like I haven't, been influenced by the world.
Okay, we're going to leave it there because it's going to take some time in order to like get you to understand what's being said here on the panel. We're not, we commend you for being a great mother. We commend you for what you were able to teach your kids and for what stuck. So we're not arguing against that. We're saying that as children, we're influenced to believe that that women should be submissive to a man and that there's a man that dictates whether or not our actions are right or wrong. And we feel that that is what should be changed. We were completely off the topic. I don't think that there was understanding of what was being said. I know you caught on that, onto that energetic flow. Hold on a second. We got somebody else wanting to come up. Divine, do a drop down by accident. Okay, we're bringing you back up, love. Does anyone want to comment on what was
Yeah.
that was just taking place?
Yeah, I did sense a different exchange. I think that and this is just my opinion, respectful to everybody. I felt like Sovereign was just saying how she felt about the question, and it wasn't a yes or no answer. And I know it's tricky because we probably expecting a yes or no. She just felt like it depends on the individual, and she gave an example of why she felt that. And I think it was kind of like I guess we just got lost in miscommunication after that. But you know, like we said, we're all going to be in different agreement. I do believe raise a child the way you wish for them to grow, right? My question, even though that exchange, it was just a little bit confusing as far as like what was the intention or where we're trying to get at with it. I just respect everybody because I do know I was a previous educator, and a lot of times, people blame parents, and I get it, but a lot of things are not taught at home, and because of that, children do show up in school being a different way. The way you nurture your children at home is definitely going to be affected in school. And just in general, everybody raises their children different, and we can't tell people how their children are going to grow, right? Because their children might grow to be very positive people and lead a life where they are leaders and believe in what they believe in from what they heard their parents taught them. So I just felt like there was a little bit of pushback on just what she believed in general. And I understand, like, it's not a problem, but I just understand that the question that we're asking, I do understand it. And I believe that the only contradiction I had in what Sovereign was saying is that she mentioned the Bible, and it's like the Bible makes women inferior. It's a story of showing women being inferior. And I'm just asking questions on, when did this all happen? Like, when did this start? When were we taken out? And I do agree. How could we rewrite ourselves back in? Because I respect the fact that she feels seen, but we're not seen and we're not respected.
Okay. Yes. The contradiction that I had from what she said was that when she was talking about the pyramid, and she said that the daughter and the mother was missing. And I'm like, that's the same thing I'm saying, is it not?
Yes, I agree. I agree with you. Yes,
So
it is the
that's
same thing.
that's why I was a little confused on what she was saying. It was like she was saying, no, it doesn't need to be necessary, but at the same time, she was teaching us what she saw, which was the divine feminine missing. And if
And
we taught that from the very beginning, which is what I'm saying, we wouldn't have to have that realization at whatever age we are. We would have it from the very beginning embedded in us.
Yeah, I agree. I think like someone just said it in the comments. It is a yes or no question, and from what I'm hearing from her, it seemed like she was leaning towards the yes. If you guys agree, but I just feel like if you're gonna just respect the question, answer yes or no, and then there's not really a in between. It's either yes, I feel like
thank you.
women need to be in the story, or no, I don't.
So my whole thing is that it's like a structured outline. You come on a panel. Sensei stated the question several times. The question was never really answered, but everything surrounding the question was. It was not, what is your opinion? It was, should women be written back into the creation story? Yes or no? Thank you. You have a great day. And if based off of your answer, please explain why. I think that she went into a whole like left field, in my personal opinion. As far as being respectful and understanding and giving her grace, she absolutely received that from Sensei. And me, I put myself on mute, because when you are at a certain spiritual level of consciousness, this is not the conversation doesn't go this way that it went just now. And that's where the disconnect was for me.
Got you. Well, thank you for sharing that. We do have a new
You're
person that
welcome.
just joined. I absolutely, I was trying to be respectful. I didn't want her to feel like her answer was inferior in any way, but I think
No,
that
I
there was
think
a
you
lot
did
of,
an awesome job of being respectful. You were absolutely respectful. That's your energy
Agree.
all day, every day. That's just
Yep.
Sensei.
Can I
You're
say
the most
100%.
something?
safest place for
Earlier,
someone to come with
Sensei,
aggressive opinion. Yeah.
earlier someone popped up on the panel, and your energy changed them. That's how respectful you are. So I don't feel like you were
Mm-hmm.
disrespectful either. But I could tell, like, if someone comes with aggressive energy, you're gonna be able to really change that around, and that is so powerful for real.
Mm.
okay, well, thank you for the feedback, lady. So at least I know that we're all here vibing together, and we're gonna keep this space safe as a group. But I definitely welcome, as we said, we welcome other people's opinions. We're not here to argue and just create tension. We're here to see what it is that people believe and why the world is the way that it is. Because if this was taught from the very beginning, I believe that we will all be more balanced. I believe that we will all be able to speak with each other with respect and understanding, open up our ears to understand, not just, and I respect again, like what we teach our children should be at home, and it should be a foundation that's a given, right? We should all be teaching our children the foundation at home. But if my child is hearing me say something and then they go to school and hear another thing, a perfect example is Santa Claus. I didn't teach my children about Santa Claus. We didn't do the Easter Bunny teaching. I decided that I didn't want to lie to my children and then get mad at them for lying to me. So I understand that it was fun, I understand that it was a game, but we can teach our children how to have fun and play different games without deceiving them and teaching deception into as a way of life from the very beginning. Again, the question is, we got somebody else. Should women be written back into the creation story? Yes or no? And if not, why not?
Okay, should women be written back into the creation story? I don't really truly feel like they was written out of it, actually. It's more like cognitive thinking when you're dealing with the religious stuff. But if you deal with the body, the 7 days of creation is the same thing as a menstrual cycle. So
how long did it take you to get to that conclusion?
I've been on a spiritual journey for about 3.5 years, but I came to that conclusion probably about 2 years ago, that once I was able to understand feminine and masculine.
Okay, now let's stop right there really quickly. If you don't mind telling us how old you are.
I'm 34.
34. So at the age of 32, you started understanding this, right?
Yes.
What if we understood it from the very beginning? See, if we were written into the creation story, you wouldn't have to wait to 32 years old to understand that. Does that make sense?
I'm comprehending what you're saying, but like personal journey is the reason why I could say that I didn't really know.
Right. So if you had that personal journey of not knowing, don't you think other people may have that same experience of not knowing that the woman was part of creation?
Yes, because that was a part of the whole stealing of the land. You know what I mean? Kill the Indian, keep the man. Like it's the stripping of the people spiritually. Like, so we are like the black woman. Y'all are that. You know what I mean?
So if that's not taught at a young age, and you have to wait to age 32 or 42 or whatever age to figure it out, wouldn't it just make more sense if we just taught it from the very beginning instead of having to go through this whole? Maybe we would be spiritually awakened at a much younger age and able to.
I'm in agreement.
You see what I'm saying? And able to tap into our gifts, our feminine gifts that we have been given. Because if the mother is missing from the creation story, we don't know which gifts she gives to us. We ignore those things. And all of those things come from the feeling world, the emotional world, the one that people can't control, the unknown that people are afraid of because they don't understand it's just feminine energy. You get what I'm saying here?
Oh, I completely comprehend.
So, do you think women should be written back into the creation story? Because you said you didn't figure it out until 32.
I didn't really care to search either.
Huh?
I didn't really care to search either.
Okay.
So as in like actually looking. I feel like that I was one of the special ones that was supposed to figure it out earlier, but I chose the opposite path, being the hard headed one, just because of like my raising wasn't the greatest, but I was always put in position where I was learning about symbology and stuff like that.
Kudos to you for figuring it out. But the question is, would you have had to go through all of that if it was just taught to you from the beginning?
No, not at all.
Exactly. That's why we're posing this question. Should women be written back into the creation story to keep all of the confusion and anger and hatred?
If that would make the feminine feel more acknowledged, I feel like they are the creation story. They just express the masculine parts about it.
Why is that?
Because like if I didn't comprehend femininity at all, okay. So once I was able to comprehend femininity, I understood that the only thing that's masculine about anything is when it's in action. Every
So,
other element and essence is feminine.
so why didn't you comprehend that?
Because I was cut off from God. I was cut off from nature. I was cut off from mother. We all were cut off. You know what I
So
mean?
when
So
you say that it's been there the whole time, then really it hasn't because we were cut off, right?
correct.
That's why this question is important. That's why when you say it was never, you said that it was there the whole time. But if you can't see it, if you're not taught it, then you're going to feel cut off from it.
Correct.
So should women be written back into the creation story? Yes or no, to keep from being cut off from that divine feminine energy?
Yes.
That's what we want to understand. If you can make the connection that this right here is the sole reason that so many men and women are cut off from the divine feminine, it's because it's not taught that we're important enough to exist in this trinity.
I just feel like y'all are everything. And until y'all can come together as the divine feminine and stand front, the masculine don't really have a place in that essence. You feel me? Because at the end of the day, being feminine is a power beyond any power in existence.
Exactly. Exactly.
So y'all got y'all gotta understand y'all's power and in your masculine.
Why do you think we don't understand our power?
Not I'm not saying you per se as an individual,
Oh no, I'm
but
just saying, why do you think women in general don't understand their power?
because this is the perversion of everything that we've been given, from the food that we eat to the things that we drink, to the things that we watch. There's perversion in every aspect of life given to us, from even the way of life. They give us the book in a different language we don't know, and then tell us that we don't know anything. They tell us we're dumb because we spoke one language, and then they was giving us books in a different language. So it's more like the perversion is what covered everybody's eyes of what the truth is, and that femininity is the true power and key that is talked about in every religion and every way of life. And that is the side of the throne that Christ sits on in order to be empowered and illuminated. So I think that we should just stop worrying about the past and build from the present power that we dwell in and frequency we dwell in, and let the now construct the future.
And that's exactly what we are all in agreement with, is if this is changed, then everybody will grow up feeling a little bit more balanced and understanding of the feminine power, not just in a woman, but also in men too. The
Right.
woman represents the unknown, the spiritual world, the part of the world that isn't seen. The masculine represents the seen world. So if we are not taught about our unseen powers, our energy, our emotions, how powerful our emotions are, if we're not taught about the divine feminine in creation and her role, that leads to an imbalanced mind having to figure it out on our own in our 30s. Do you see where I'm
Right.
going with this?
I'm right here with you.
If it's taught from the very beginning that women are powerful and women are the ones that bring all life into this world, along with masculine energy, and that it should be a unity and not a separation. See, this is separatism. This is how you divide consciousness. When you teach that only a masculine, the seen world, is to be respected and admired and honored and acknowledged. See, when we leave the divine mother out, we're not just talking about man and woman here. We're talking about 90% of the unknown world not being tapped into. And we wonder why we only use 10% of our brains. Well, the other 90% is in the unknown, it's in the felt world. That's divine feminine.
So what if it's actually in the books? What if it's actually there, and the only reason we didn't know about it is because of the way that the teachers were teaching?
Then we have to ask, why did they teach it to look like an absence? Why do we have to guess, what if it was there? If it was there, we wouldn't have to ask, what if it was there, right? Because we
I
would know.
believe I,
Hey,
I, I can accept that that's exactly what doctrine is. It's to align you with a narrative, you know what I mean, instead of the truth. Because through my studies of that book, I seen all of the truth in there. All of the mystics, all of the Catholicism, the astronomy, the astrology, the metaphysical science. I can actually see it
can
in
see
the
it
book.
now with the eyes that you have and the perspective that you have, but how long did it take you to develop that? That's the problem we have.
Can
You
I
didn't just
chime
get
in?
that,
I'm
you
sorry.
didn't just get that yesterday. You
I
got that
didn't.
right. You can see it now, but do you think a 5-year-old who sees it can see it, or a 10-year-old?
Absolutely
I
not.
actually think they see it before we see it.
They see that it's missing?
Yes,
That's my point.
children. I feel like when I was a kid, even when I was a kid, there was things that I was able to do that I didn't comprehend what I was doing because didn't nobody else know what I was doing, because they have already been cut off from imagination and all of that, right?
Right, right,
So
right.
when a
And
person grows
that's
up,
divine feminine.
I think when a
So,
person grows up, that's when they lose that factor.
We're in agreement here. Energetic. Flo, you want to
um,
chime in?
sh- I'm sorry, I don't know her name, but she was before me, the one below me.
Oh,
She had
Divine.
something to
I'm
say.
sorry. Yeah, it was me. I wanted to say first, brother, I'm very proud of you because I know, especially like what he's saying about the Bible and how you can read things, and not only in the Bible, the Torah, a lot of different religious contexts where you can read and see what's what. And I don't know I'm kind of curious to know what brought you to that. For me, it was when I'm still growing spiritually, just to be vulnerable. Um, I feel like for me, it was the God in me speaking to me, letting me know there's loopholes in these stories. And I have a child myself, and I started to rewrite everything. Like I have to really rewrite things because I'm not gonna lie, the environmental factors are very strong on my child. Um, my words are met, and I'm nurturing and also educating them on truth, and they can see it. I can say that I felt like from a very young age, my child did see that I was a powerful person. And like you said earlier, Sensei, that they are our teachers. Like he has taught me so much. And if it wasn't for him, me connecting into my femininity and also my emotions and also acknowledging spirituality probably would never really exist if it wasn't for my child. So when this young man is speaking and he's talking about this journey and how we were in doctrine and how there's certain things in the Bible in context that is like hidden from us. I do agree to it because, like I said, the story of Adam and Eve doesn't even make sense. Like when you read it, there's something missing. How did they go from Adam and Eve into boom, children, into their children having a whole population of people?
All right, so
I have some. I
Before
want
we
to
go
go
make a
ahead,
into
love.
point as
that
well.
and
Go
get
ahead,
off
love.
topic, we're gonna go to energetic flow and let her chime in before we get into that because I know that's a whole nother subject.
Yeah, that's gonna be a whole nother long-winded conversation. I just want to make 2 points. So one, the reason that I agree with the young man that children already know that is because the woman is their first god, their hero in absolutely every single thing. So I absolutely agree that the children know. Um, as they grow and evolve is where the inner knowing starts to become very distorted. The second thing, because I'm trying to just give y'all bullet points versus having a long-winded conversation so that I can just be share the space and the frequency with everyone. My second quick thought is that the reason that this is like this, just in case anyone want to go down a rabbit hole and research it the way, to get to the root of the cause. So right now we're currently operating under what is called the patriarch. We originally was a matriarch society. It was a time in centuries, billions of years ago, where it was nothing but women, and we birthed things through parthenogenesis. Whole nother conversation. But the reason for the reason that they intentionally and cleverly give you truths and lies at the same time is to hide that fact. Because what control would you have once everyone woke up and knew the truth? Especially women. Women would definitely stop operating in the way that we operate if they knew the truth.
From the very beginning.
And then also, if women knew the truth, it would cause a lot of wars that the men don't want to deal with.
Absolutely.
So that's all. That's my thoughts.
Thank you. And Gallo, again, just like Divine Duo said, we commend you for reaching this on your own and for your spiritual journey. Like, I don't hear a lot of men able to come up here. We did have someone up here last night because we did a live last night, and he was very in tune with his feminine. But men are taught that crying and sharing emotions at a young age is a sign of weakness. Little boys are taught this. So at that very moment, they start to suppress their feminine in order to not feel isolated and rejected from other men. But if we understood that everything unseen inside of us is the feminine, and that the father, the masculine, is the seen, we will understand how they work together. And there would be no division. We wouldn't have to have a lifelong struggle of trying to understand why women are not like, yeah, we can see it, but why is it not spoken out loud? Why is it not acknowledged? There's something that comes with acknowledgement that changes everything. Okay, go
It's
ahead.
gonna it's gonna take for a lot of women in your essence to come together and allow us men that understand that comprehend, that's able to actually voice it. We need y'all's magnetic power in order to amplify anything that we're pushing for. That's why y'all are so sacred. Y'all are so powerful. Y'all sacredness is what make y'all so mystical and powerful. The unknown, the darkness. And with that power, y'all got allow the light to shine. And the light is the masculine. Y'all gotta allow us to be that for y'all, because everything that's actually happening in true war and true power is behind closed doors in the darkness. And that's where all the matriarchs were. The men fought the physical war. The
Yes,
feminine.
there's a lot of wind in your mic, and it's cutting out your. Are you able to
I'm
turn the
trying to get
phone?
in. I'm trying to get in a different area.
That's okay. I don't know if you heard Draconian Serpentine speak earlier. You may have come into the conversation a little bit later, but she came from the background of Islam. And in Islam, all of the women have to have their hair covered. They can't wear anything that's revealing at all. Uh, and they have to, like, there is
Yeah.
basically,
It's very intense for them.
it's,
Intense.
it's
And
basically like, you want to tell him a little bit about
Oh,
how women are
I'm all the
suppressed?
way.
You're
I'm all the
aware?
um,
way. I'm
I'm gonna
aware.
give another example. If a wife didn't give herself up for her husband, she will be cursed by God and by angels until the sun comes up. So it's practically a grape that she have to give herself up no matter what.
Right.
So the reason it's important for this to be taught in the beginning is so that if we had this foundation about how powerful we are and where our place in this universe is, not just from a physical and intellectual perspective, but also from a spiritual and inner understanding, religions like Islam wouldn't exist. Religions like how the foundation of Christianity, praying to a father and to a male God, wouldn't exist the way that it does. There would be more balance, more structured reality versus this idea that we all came from father. See, this
Beloved, it's a lot of more teachings that shows that part, that shows that truth, in those books. Like I wanted to ask that beautiful woman about Islam. Like the Al Fatiha is a is a reverence to the divine feminine, the cosmic mother. Am I wrong or am I right?
I don't think so because it only says like Al-Fatiha will say, uh, give grace to God. There is no God but Allah, and you only have to obey Him. Um,
That's
do I not
doctrine.
understand? And
That's
ask.
doctrine, love. That's not what the
Yeah,
scriptures
yeah,
say.
yeah.
To say the
There's
same
a
thing.
lot of things in the Quran that, like, we can extract a lot of things. But hey,
Okay.
I want you to see from another perspective. I chose this experience. We chose this experience,
Correct.
and being in observation mode is like an aha moment, and the challenges that we have been through, it's really, yes, in the ego mind it will be like painful, and these type of things to let the ego like interrogate. But in the other hand, when you see from a perspective of consciousness, that's like it's an exciting experience, because the more you get out of it, the more you ascend, the more you open your eyes, your heart and your soul expands, the more you have the capacity to hold even like the safe space for them, because you've been through there what they have been through, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Can I say something about, we was talking about the Islam religion, right? So I've been
Yes.
around African Muslims and I have a different experience, which is like bittersweet because I do still see the inferiority, but I feel like a lot of that is man-made. The Quran does not say that. A lot of the things that are in Islam, especially across different countries, they practice different things and they make their own teachings based on historical factors or what they was taught from years ago. But I do feel like a lot of the Islams in Africa, I can't speak for every African country, but I do see some aspect of them treating women way differently. The women could let their hair down when they get home. I have seen them in communities where their hair is not fully like their hair is shown. They can dress and especially in Senegal, they have something called Bamba Day. A lot of the women, they get their weaves done, their hair is out, they're allowed to be free and feel a little bit more liberated. And the women are a very powerful factor in that culture. However, I do feel like it's weird that women have to pray at the bottom or like in a different room, and it's always at the bottom. Like it's never in the same room unless it's like a crowd, then it would be in separate rooms in the same floor. But most times that I ever been to a mosque, women are always in a bottom room
separate from the men, and that's what I find like inferior. And I also find their whole concept of what women is allowed to do as far as marriage. I do feel like that's a concept that was created by men as well.
Well, it's psychological. And if the men are the ones that are saying they're leaders in the church or wherever, the synagogue, and they don't allow women to even become leaders
Hmm.
and able to share their gifts and their perspective, then we're obviously going to grow up feeling inferior,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
know? And that's the problem with the story from the beginning. Now, let's just wipe it clean for a second and imagine if we all grew up understanding the role that women play, no matter what religion that we're in. If we all grew up understanding the role and the importance of a woman, how far in life do you think we would be?
I think women and men would have to understand their own roles in the life for us to be anywhere other than where we at. Men have to understand how to be men. Women got to understand how to be women. Their roles in this realm, in order for us to nation build and grow. We both got to know our place, and we both got to allow each other to be in our place to do what we're created to do.
Gallo, at what age do you think that understanding comes into play?
I believe understanding is innate. I believe comprehension is innate, but due to the fears of our parents, because of what they went through, they give us a way of life, or our mothers give us a way of life of fear.
So you say we
So
come in understanding because I before we go into explanation, I want to just understand because you're not giving, yes or no. So I got to figure out what you're saying. So you're saying that there's no age that understanding comes into play that um or that maturity comes into play. You're saying that we are born knowing how to live in this world.
yes,
Okay, now what happens when society comes into your inner knowing and suppresses what you know?
that's exact. We look right there. You just hit the note. When people come in and invade, that's where everything goes left and goes wrong, because you
So
actually learn from observation.
so if we learned this from the beginning of if we learned balance, because this is not just a pyramid, this is not just a trinity, this is manifestation. This is now when you have, let's just say you have this one line here from the top to the bottom, A to B, right? That's one direction, maybe two, back and forth. That's it. That's it. You just got back and forth. You can only go in two directions with two points. But when you add this third point, you're adding space, you're adding dimension. So now you have back and forth, you have up and down, you have in and out, because this third point gives you dimensional space. It gives you perspective. It gives you manifestation.
Beloved, I comprehend the sacred geometry.
And because of that, you can't miss, if you're taught the mother is absent, you're only getting a circle of masculine energy. So the reason we have to have this back into the teaching is not that we can't figure it out. Yeah, we will eventually, but why wait when we can be taught that from the very beginning and it creates balance? Because what could we be doing right now if we had that understanding and that inner knowing from the very beginning
Sensei,
versus having to wait, to figure it out? Yes, ma'am.
you know why they waited so long?
Tell me why.
Because if they did it at the beginning, if we didn't have to undo all of the mess that they have caused, a child who is allowed to stay connected to their inner voice
Thank
is
you.
very hard to program against themselves by the time that they're an adult.
Thank
So
you.
they had to be deliberate in their method, because if not, their method would not work.
That is exactly the point of this question, and where so many people are overlooking. It's like, yes, we understand we're born with it, but when society comes in and you don't have a strong foundation, and you're seeing everything in the world contradict. You're at the dinner table saying, "Thank you, Father," and there's no acknowledgement of the mother. It's instilled in us from the very beginning to be disconnected from our feminine nature, and that's why we have to go through so many struggles. But if this was taught from the beginning, we wouldn't be able to be cut off from it. And so that's the whole point of this question, and I think that that's what's missing, is just the point of the question. Yeah, we understand all of everything that's been said here. We're very aware. Otherwise, this question wouldn't even be brought up. It's not a man versus woman thing. This is what's disconnecting the fire from within. Why is phi missing from the equation? And it's because you have to have all three in an electric circuit to work. That electricity has to be able to flow and be neutralized and grounded in order to get electricity to flow properly without being burned out. This is not just a shape. This is divine geometry, and it's also electromagnetism. You have to have all three for electricity to work. Does that make sense? If anybody knows electricity and how
That's
fire
factual.
works,
That's factual.
so we have to see it from multiple perspectives. Like, this is how the body works. This is how the body is able to channel unknown energy. And maybe we would still be flying, and maybe we would still be able to teleport, and maybe we still would be able to use telepathy and our intuition in a much stronger way, and our psychic abilities would be able to be online if this was not something we had to figure out later in life. So that's the whole point of like asking these questions. Like, this is damaging to our gifts. You know, our gifts are not able to be seen. We're trying to still figure out how to move things with our mind. Like, some of us. The Matrix was a real story. This is how they got us. You know, Trinity in the Matrix was a woman. She was the missing piece. Morpheus was the one who had to awaken the child within, which was Neo. But the child couldn't be awakened without Trinity, which was the female. She was the missing piece. When we start putting this stuff together, it starts to make sense.
I think it's so beautiful how you was explaining that.
Thank you. That's what I'm here for.
We need more. That's what I'm saying. We need more of y'all be able to explain that to the younger generation and be able to help guide. Because at the end of the day, if the father is there or not, the mother is always there.
Hence, the problem that we have with what we see versus what we're being taught. It creates a disconnect. We see our mother there. We see the father missing most of the time. So how is it that the father is present in creation, but the mother is missing? So it just doesn't make sense. And this is what creates this seed of doubt in us that starts to grow. And every time you come into a contact with a woman who's imbalanced, you're going to think it's going to reinforce what this religion does, which was create a divide. Women are imbalanced. There are not as many of us out here as there should be that understand who we are and how important we are, because they still believe that they should be suppressed and dominated by a man. And that's what we've been taught. We've been taught that we're not the prize, even though we know that it takes two. So
I know, what I do know is that in every species in creation, the female is the dominant being.
So what happened in the Homo sapien?
It's still the truth. The man had to do what they did to suppress the feminine power. So when they suppressed y'all, they suppressed us too. Us protecting
Exactly.
y'all is what kept us in power. So powerful.
They suppressed themselves too. You're absolutely right. What do you think led to them feeling this way that they needed to suppress women?
Uh, See, that come with the conquering of the land. Them 7 nations that came over here
That's a
conquering
good
our
question.
land. They understood that y'all were the power, and y'all's power empowered us so much that we would destroy the entire world. So they had to create that disconnect in order for them to continue that concept until modern day. You know, the man versus the woman, the son versus the father, daughter versus the mother, and so on and so on. That's a concept that's been pressed on us since they began conquering us, because they know how important that relationship is. Look today, look at today, this nowadays, how important that relationship is with the mother and son, or the mother and daughter. It tells you, you can see what type of girl that little girl is going to grow up into just by looking at her mother and father, and seeing how she is being raised with just her mother or just her father or both parents. And you can tell how that little girl is going to be.
You can tell how little boys are going to be and little girls are going to be without the father in the picture. And when we grow up with that imbalance, it does lead to some type of animosity towards one or the other. Divine, was it you who said that's a good question?
I was saying that's a good question. All your questions are great. I was just sitting here exploring one of your questions when you said, what would it look like if we were placed back into the story, right? And our children knew at a young age. And I do believe that mental illness, sicknesses it wouldn't exist. Like if we can imagine women having the role that we initially had, from the primitive times, um, I know for a fact that it will heal us all. I believe we need healing, and that's what's gonna heal us. But like we're all saying, like not everybody has this mindset. A lot of people, because of brainwash, they're stuck in it, and their minds are shackled by it. But like I was about to say something with Gallo, he was talking about parents and fathers and mothers and their roles and how important it is. And I'm thinking about a story that me and my child read called Root Magic. And in Root Magic, it was about a time where colonization was going on, and they would take they killed this grandmother, this black grandmother, because she was the healer of the town. Anyone that got sick, she was the one who healed them. So they did that. Why did they kill her though? Why only her? They didn't kill anyone else but this prominent woman that everyone could go to if they needed a shelter, if they needed to get medicines that were natural to heal them, if they needed spiritual guidance, this is who they went to. And so, even though that story may have been made up, it was a story that I felt like my son and I always value and we understand. Like, even my own grandmother, she was a prayer warrior. She did believe in religion, but I also believe my grandmother, because of her age, she also was rooted in African spirituality. You understand? So she also had her brainwash, but something about my grandmother, her spirituality just was able to change people's moods and really affect people if they were sick or if they needed some guidance. So I love the fact that we're having this conversation, and I'm also loving the fact that we're having that imagination, even though it can happen, it will happen. I believe right now in the world, we may not see it, but I feel like this is our time. Something in my instinct is letting us know, and I don't want to get off the grid because a lot of stuff is happening in the world that I don't want to touch base on. But I feel like because of these things that are happening in the world, it is our time to rewrite and educate each other and our children so that they can grow up without these systems in their head, without that psychological damage that they don't understand. And so it's up to us who do understand to continue to indoctrinate the truth, the way, so that they could be able to know, like, without women, one, we have to respect women. We have to start by respecting each other, because I'm not gonna lie, it's disheartening what I see online. It's disheartening what I see in the relationships. Even we don't have any platonic relationships. I've been speaking about that so much. Like, when are we gonna have male and female relationships? Because that is going to heal us too. We don't have that no more. We're not around each other's energy anymore to even understand each other. We have to be like right now, Gallo, to be honest with you, you being in this panel and speaking articulate and understanding where you stand in life and you're grounded, this is helping to heal us. You understand? Because you understand us and we understand you. And we're not fighting and we're not dividing each other. We're not tearing each other down. And if we can come to that like understanding with each other, it's going to be a beautiful world and not a perfect world because I don't believe in that. But I do believe that our power will be more powerful. And I believe we're magical people. So if we come back to that, what kind of magic will we be able to use? And what will we be using it for?
Gratitude,
And
gratitude.
before we get into that, like this is going in a great direction. I just want to first of all applaud. Let's give the panel some love, y'all, because they're very intelligent, articulate, spiritual, gifted people who can see the truth. And I couldn't have asked for a better panel right now. If you have a question about the topic, should women, or an answer, if you want to answer this, please come up. But before we continue, let's tap the screen really quick. We're going to do a 10-second countdown of tapping the screen and sharing the live so that we can get more people in here to talk about this. So we're going to start now. 9, 8, tap, 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 tap. 6, 5,
How you doing,
4,
beloved?
3, 2, and 1. Awesome, awesome, awesome. We're up at almost 10,000 likes. Let's continue to get that up because we want to bring more people who are attracted to the drama. There's a lot of people attracted and addicted to drama on this app. We want to raise our frequency to pull them in because this, what we're talking about, is very healing on a deep, deep, deep level. When we understand that the question that I had asked was, why do you think men would go through the trouble of disconnecting us from the divine feminine? And divine duo answered it perfectly, because if we all knew about our feminine nature from the very beginning, we would all be balanced and healed. You can't take advantage and control a person who's healed and balanced. You can't take advantage of them. But when a person doesn't know that they have the power that they have inside of them to set boundaries, to say no, and to stand up for what they believe in, when that has been stripped from them, the wildness that comes with being a female, the wildness that comes from the power of emotions being expressed that you can't control. Why do you think we tell babies to be quiet when they're crying? Because we can't handle their emotion. It's not that they can't handle their emotion. They are expressing pure feeling. They don't have the words to communicate how they feel, so they cry. And what do? Shh, be quiet, be quiet. In some cases, we're told to shut up. What do you think that does to the divine feminine? Because crying is an emotional expression of the unseen. You can't see emotion, but you can feel it. So when you're taught to be quiet and to not be able to cry and allow that emotion to run its full circuit, remember, we're electrical in nature. So when that emotion gets trapped inside and you can't express it, it causes imbalance in the mind, and imbalance in the mind causes imbalance in the body, because the body reflects the mind. The mind is made up of divine feminine and masculine energy. The masculine is the structural, logical, seen. The feminine is the emotional, intuitive, felt experience. And when those two are disconnected, the Messiah is going to suffer. The Messiah won't be resurrected. The Messiah will be sacrificed. And we all have a Messiah inside of us. We all have Christ consciousness, but that Christ consciousness depends on the balance of the two archetypal energies, mother and father, which we were told is God in the Bible and in all creation stories. But that disconnect, us not being taught that the Spirit and the Holy Ghost represents the divine feminine, that creates a loop of masculine energy, just mind. So why do we have so many people here living in their mind and not in their body? presence is disconnected because we're taught to only believe in what we see, which shuts off the other side, the feminine. So, yes, going back to the question, if the divine mother had been taught from the very beginning, we wouldn't be in the condition that we're in, disconnected and able to be controlled. So that's what, that's what we're doing here. We're talking about what impact this has when the woman is left out of the creation story. If you want to come up and answer this, doesn't matter what your answer is. We just want to talk about it and see what your thoughts are and see if we can all come up with some common agreements that get us on the same page, because there's so much disconnect between men and women. I'm not sure where our gentleman went. Maybe he had to go. Maybe his phone died. Who knows? But we would love for him to come back, or any other men to come back who want to express their truth on this topic. Now, I know I said a lot there. So if any of you ladies want to comment on anything that was said or anything spoke to you, please feel free to unmute yourself and come back into the room. Also, can we heal this if it's too late? Is it ever too late? No, it's never too late. It's never too late, because being able to be healed is a shift in perspective. It's never too late to shift your perspective and to change your mind. The problem is when people are embedded in what they have always thought that they knew. When it becomes deeply embedded and deeply rooted, and they don't know how to change, that's when it becomes a problem. So it's only too late if people don't remember how to change their minds. But as soon as they remember how to change their minds, then the shift is instant. It may take time to do the work to get to where they want to be, where they don't have to consciously, think about what they're doing all the time. But it starts with being able to change their mind. Energetic flow, did you want to chime in?
Oh yeah, I just was everything you said. I agree with. The collective is here to ensure that the healing is done and that the frequency of Earth is raised. So it's coming. It's coming. That's all I can say. It's coming. Because it's time. It's time.
Yes. And I know that let's see, how long have we been on here? I think I got on it.
I don't know. I lost track of time.
I did too.
I'm seriously, like, when I get with you, I don't even be watching the clock or nothing. I just be tunnel vision. Even when I'm listening and I'm not talking, I be like so hyper focused.
I've never stayed on a live this long. I'm gonna be real with you, ladies. I scroll past lives, and I seen you, sister. I was like, nah, what she talking about? I was like, what she
I
talking
kid
about?
you.
I want in, and it's just been good. It's been a vibe. I did errands and all of that while on this live.
Divine, you need to
Yes, honey.
come to her. You need to come to her panel at night when she's on.
Okay.
I be in there like I am in college again. I be taking notes and making sure I'm not doing plagiarism. Like the energy is just unbelievable. Like if you want to feel the best the frequency is so high when we're in the room with her in the panel. I kid you not, and you will definitely, like, normally I'm in bed probably 8 or 9 o'clock. I think we were still on at midnight, about midnight.
Wow.
How late did you, Sensei, how late were you on last night?
I started a little early, so I think we were on for 4 hours. It was up to like 3 o'clock a.m. Central Time. I know for sure.
Yeah, I'm in literally when I'm telling you, when I got off the live with her at that time of the morning, I still was literally like, what do I do with myself? Because I was so energetic. I was not tired. I didn't even feel that amount of time had went by or anything. It's like we were just in another universe.
Wow. Really and truly, conversations like this just open up my mind. And when I'm telling you, it's like God wants you to see certain things. I really believe certain things that come on my algorithm are not just by chance. And so when I saw Sensei's page, I was like, this woman is so grounded, so powerful, and she has a lot of understanding. And I think I went under your page to ask a question about guidance with children because your voice is soothing. So it's so easy to get, wrapped up in your education. Like once you start educating it with your voice, I'm like, yeah, what's she talking about? I'm honed in, but I just feel like this is a community that's really needed, and over time is definitely gonna grow more and more and more. Like you said, energetic. This is the time. It's happening, whether we believe it or not, whether people may not see it or not. It is happening. So, the more we could understand what's happening, understand ourselves, and how we could play a role in this world while it evolving into what it needs to be, and saying, sisters and respecting each other and showing the world what that looks like. And that's why I really appreciate this panel and her having this live because you are showing the world what it means to show up in a spiritual and powerful way. And this is how we need to be towards each other. It doesn't have to be bashing, dividing, and the chaos, it's enough of that. And so, how could we heal each other and speak gentle with each other and also respect each other's point of views? So, I don't know when you come on at night, but I'm definitely gonna set my your TikTok to get notifications moving forward.
Should be on tonight at 10 p.m.
All right, no problem.
Thank you. I receive everything that you all are sharing with me. First of all, it took me some time to be even open to receive. And that's something that I think a lot of women have a problem with because we don't know how to rest. And receptivity only comes in when you learn how to take a break and rest. And that's why I feel like this information is so important because I'm an advocate for the struggles that women have on a day to day basis and what we go through. And I feel that the reason we go through those is because we don't know who we are. We know intuitively, but we don't really get how divine we are. And we haven't even scratched the surface. So it means everything to have the support of you two ladies because that's where we have problems within the world is women coming together and being able to agree on something other than bashing men. Do you see what I mean? Like that's what you're gonna find on this app. Women saying what men do and don't deserve, or men saying what women do and don't deserve. I'm so
Yeah.
open to those conversations.
Yeah. It's mentally draining, and I have really tried to be a part and shine light, but it goes back to what I was telling you earlier. If it's not a unity, or you're not jumping on the bandwagon with what they think the vision should be, like a lot of women believe that we should just write men off, and I'm like, but to write them off, you have sons, you have brothers, you have uncles, you have nephews. It's almost like you want us to do what they have done to us.
Right.
And we all have a part. And in order for us to, unite and to change things, we need each other. We just have to come to the understanding that, we bring two different things to the table by design, but we're not each other's enemies. I'm just thankful that I have experienced very highly enlightened and high conscience, high frequency, divine masculine men. Because if you haven't experienced that, I do understand that it may definitely be like you feel like someone's selling you something that doesn't even exist, but it absolutely does exist. But in order for you to experience that, you must be resonating on a certain frequency.
Yeah, the outside world mimics what's happening on the inside. That's the whole key. So if there's imbalance on the inside, then yes, we're going to come into a lot of imbalance, the men on the outside and women, because we're imbalanced. And so this is not just geometry. This is a code. This is a decoding of the whole human mind here and body. So, like, if one is missing and there's no balance, then all of us are going to be experiencing the world from an imbalanced perspective. And that's not heaven. So we can create heaven here as long as men and women understand that we are not to be separated. We're supposed to unite. And the difference of this energy of being expressed as feminine or masculine is not to put us against each other, but to understand what roles they play inside of us. Everything is to teach us who we are. Nature teaches who we are. But what is our nature as women? We don't know because we've been masculinized. And that's where we have to reverse this. So if you've been over masculinized and you're always in your head and you're never in your body, then you can't see how to protect your home. You can't protect your home because your intuition is blocked because you're in your head. So how do we get from the mind and get back into our feminine? It's presence. Presence allows us to be in the body to feel when something isn't in alignment and tell that man, hey, we shouldn't go this way. But if men are taught that they're the leaders and they don't have that intuition and they can't see and detect the unseen and we let them guide us, see, that's the problem with this religion. We're taught that they're the head. When this is back in order, then women know their role is to guide men and tell them where we're going and to set boundaries in place. It's for us to set the boundaries that they are not to cross. And when we understand that about ourselves, that we're the ones who set the boundaries, they'll be protected and we'll be protected. We protect them and they protect us. That's the divine support that the sun and the moon has. Why would we not follow suit? Yin and yang keep everything in balance because they are in balance. And we witness this every single day in the sky, how the sun and the moon moves above the earth because we are experiencing our mother and father do this in heaven. We understand what they're doing. They're keeping balance between night and day through the seasons. When change happens, they teach us all how to adapt. We're the ones who are not paying attention to their roles and how they keep everything balanced. So we allow our eyes to deceive us. First of all, we see that the sun and moon are exactly the same size. But what have we been taught not to trust? Our own eyes. They even give more importance to the sun and say, oh no, the sun just appears to be the same size as the moon because it's so much further away. Prove it. Prove it. So this affects more than just it affects our psyche. It affects how we see reality. We don't even see reality the way that reality exists because we have this teaching to go against what we see, to doubt what we see and to doubt what we know. We know the sun and the moon is the same size. They eclipse each other. They unite with each other. And when they unite, one is not bigger than the other. They are equal. There is no 900,000,000 miles away. That's made up. We understand that the earth is not moving. It's fixed. It's not moving. But this science that we've been taught, which goes against every piece of ancient teaching out there, we all of a sudden believe that because we have more technology. No, we've been had technology. If they can't even build the pyramids the same way anymore, then where is the technology now that we had then? That's the questions we should be asking. No, I know this.
I agree. No, you didn't go left. I love this. And while you're speaking, I'm thinking about the prompt all over again. I'm thinking about should women be written back into the creation of story? And it's like, yes, because of this, because of the brainwashing, right? I'm thinking about it, made me think about so much, right? It made me think about the Willie Lynch letter. Like I started to say to myself, at what point of time did we just believe anything, right? Like at what point in time did our minds just boom and we believe anything that people told us? We believe so much that right now we're in a state where it's going to be challenging because a lot of people they are actually happy with this story that women are not in the creation because it gives them power and control, right? So there's those people that it's going to be challenging for us to sway everybody because they love that narrative, right? And everything we're talking about is valid. The same science that's teaching us about astronomy, right, in the sky is the same science that's lying to us. So
Exactly.
yeah, so it's like that's all I wanted to say because it's like so much to uncover and so much to heal from. But yeah,
Yeah.
Welcome in, beloved. How are you? And before you get started, if you could answer the prompt, and then we can go from there.
Okay. Should women be written back into the creation story? Of course, yes. Um, yes, they should be. Uh, nurtured and guided and helped and supported back to, the original state or design or how they're supposed to operate in the world. And a lot of times women haven't been able to have a safe space and a safe environment to be able to operate in their natural state. And as because of the world we live in, you know um and it ties into a lot of things, but yeah, I was commenting like there's shadow societies that are brainwashing the world, the population, through music, movies, and culture, and they're brainwashing people with agendas that are not natural, you know.
True. This is true. Yeah, thank you so much for coming up here and sharing your piece and just for being brave enough to come up on a panel of women who are definitely able to express how they feel. And I know you hear the emotion coming through from not just my voice, but also the other women when we speak. But that's our gift. Our gift is to be able to use emotion to move people. And if we're not using our gift, then men sometimes fall astray from the clutches of what divine feminine can actually bring out of them, because there's feminine inside of every single one of us, there's masculine inside of every single one of us, but to deny that one of those energies exists and has and to put one dominating the other is what causes all of the problems that we have. So, thank you for coming up and saying your piece, and we love to hear more from you. If anything comes up while we're talking, please feel free to express it and share it. We want to hear from you.
can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
What is femininity and masculinity to everybody in the panel and comments? And do we believe it's a social construct?
Does anyone want to go?
Sure, I believe like feminine and masculine, like there are um like you said, there are the feminine and masculine aspects are inside of everybody, like men and women. Um, but there is innately, you know, a woman innately um, is made differently, um, from a man, you know. And I was just going through lives and talking about these things with somebody, and I guess they were arguing over me because I'm more like traditional. I like lean on like traditional values and stuff like that and how things are supposed to be, but I think feminine and masculine traits are inside of everybody. Um, and I think it's like it's like a trait, it's like an energy.
Let me ask you something before we get to other people answering the question from a divine duo. What makes you cling to tradition? And when you said the way things are supposed to be, let's hear what you feel things are supposed to be first, and then we'll understand your answer.
Um, well, I lean on the Word of God as my foundation. So, from my view or my world point of view is male and female. So it's supposed to come together. You know, and have children and raise a family up. Um, and support each other and grow with each other. You know, um, that's just what I believe. Other people may believe differently.
Okay.
That's just what I lean on. Yeah.
Okay. No, that answers my question, which is what when you say how things are supposed to be or the role of tradition, that's exactly what I wanted to know. So thank you for answering that. Now, Divine Duo's question was, what was your question, love? I have so much stuff.
No, it's okay. I was just asking for everybody because I know that some people have different definitions of what masculinity and femininity is. And also just to understand where is everybody mindset. Do you believe it is a social construct or do you believe like vote for Jesus, he said he believes it's a trait, that everyone possess. So what's your mindset on it? What were you taught? Do you even know what it is? Because I know a lot of people may not know what it is. And so I like that we have this because it's an education point where people could understand what it is and what it looks like and how it's important for us in the world.
Absolutely. Thank you for reiterating that. Energetic flow, did you want to say anything?
Just basically, masculine doesn't control. Its purpose is to support the direction. And then the feminine aspect is to amplify the creation. And that's where the disconnect is between the two. Most men associate masculinity with domination, dominating things and conquering things.
Absolutely. So I'll go ahead and answer. Thank you for giving your piece. I got to charge my battery up on my phone because it is definitely dying. Okay, here we go. So when I teach from the perspective of not just spirituality, but also science, because I'm a student of science too. Science is supposed to be to help understand the natural world around us. Otherwise, what are we studying? What are we even leaning on science for if it's changing the narrative? Okay. So the natural world around us tells us one thing, and science sometimes goes against that. Science tells us that male and female are genders, but the natural world around us tells us that male and female are currents of energy, electricity, and magnetism. And when you start looking at male and female from the role of phi, from the world of how do we ignite the fire within, how do we allow our chakras to balance and rise up, how do we become the phoenix reawakened. When we look at life from the perspective of these two being currents that have to be aligned and balanced, that's where feminine and masculine comes into play for me. I understand that masculinity is not just a gender, that it is, yes, it provides structure, it provides direction, it provides guidance, it provides protection, it provides, it's reactive in nature. And it's also seen, it's the seen world. We know what masculinity is because we're taught about masculinity. What we're not taught is what the feminine current is. We're not taught that that the feminine, not just in men, or not just in women, but in men too, is the part of us that feels what we can't see and how we interpret the unknown, how we move our way through the darkness when there is no light, because it's not always daytime outside, is it? So when we're in the darkness, if we don't know how to move through it, that's because we're not in touch with our feminine. There's nothing to fear. A woman will, we're definitely not afraid. We're only afraid when we overthink, when we use too much structure and too much, we lean too much on what we know, or what we think instead of what we know, and we go against what we feel. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And
Absolutely.
yeah. And I noticed like there's hasn't, like the sister said at the top, there's men out there that dominate. They think that's like masculinity and stuff like that, the conquer and but the world really hasn't seen a good representation of a healed and healthy divine feminine and divine masculine, and that's due to a lot of things, through trauma. There's a lot of trauma people have to heal from the world. There's a lot of false teachings and programming that goes on in the world that confuses people. You know um but the world really hasn't seen a healed, healthy, divine feminine and masculine, but it is possible, and there are some out there. You guys might even be one right here standing in front of me. you know so, and that's what it comes down to. It comes down to like healing, you know um masculinity, and a lot of times when there's men that are out there abusing their spouse or something like that, there's some type of imbalance inside of them. There's something that they need to heal from their childhood. Maybe they didn't have a good relationship with their mother, and they take it out on their spouse, take it out on their kids. There's a lack of healing that needs to take place out here in the world. And you know
Absolutely. I mean, to bring it on home, that's exactly what we're here for, because we are healed women, and we're trying to be the representation of a woman that's not reactive, that's not living in her masculine all the time. We use masculine when we need it, but for the most part, the reason we're in this situation is what we're taught. And that's why this whole conversation is, should women be written back into the creation story, yes or no? Because when you remove the mother, then how do you learn what the mother gives you? How do you learn her powers and her gifts from the unseen? You only, most of the roles that we have in society are, do you want to be a doctor? Do you want to be a lawyer? Do you want to be a teacher? They're already set for us, and they're based in this right here. Does it make money? Does it support our physical comfort? Don't worry about how it makes you feel. You can get to that when you get to heaven. But heaven is created on earth. There's no place in the Bible where heaven is separate from earth. Heaven is the firmament between earth and the waters above. That's what the Bible says. And if we go by doctrine, if we go by actually what was written, we understand that heaven can be a change in frequency, a change in perspective. And that's what we offer here on My Lives. If we're not shifting perspectives, what's the point? If we're not here to touch something inside of you, if we can't reach you, what's the point? The point is, when you remove the mother from this vital element here, then we all grow up feeling this emptiness, this disconnect. We know that we're powerful, but we don't see it. Why are we in the situation that we're in? And it starts with what we're being taught and what we grow up believing, because that changes how you see the reality that you're living. The outside world mimics what you feel. You can't think your way into success, can you? You have to feel worthy before you even obtain success. Because an unworthy person, a person who feels unworthy, they don't have the power to attract success. It's all about how you feel. And the feeling world is the feminine, it's the divine feminine, it's the unseen, it's the powerful. So when we're taught that feminine is more than just a gender, that it's also a very important, valid current that flows inside of us, and we're taught how to recognize that current and how to live in presence, then we are more balanced and we're able to move through the world a lot easier than being one-sided. I don't want to just pray to a father, because I know my mother was the one who brought me in this world. So why am I not giving her reverence as well? Where is she? Why do I feel this loss and this yearning for my mother? Even when she's right in front of me, why are we fighting with women? Why are women so imbalanced? After all that they do, they're still not given credit for what they do. Yeah, we're going to be imbalanced until we realize that it doesn't matter what the world thinks out there. But when we get to that realization, we're already grown. We want to know what we would be like if this was taught from the very beginning. Does that make sense?
Yep.
It does. I was sitting here and I was just thinking about a lot, and I was thinking about how sometimes when I'm on TikTok, I like to research specifically of personal growth, and always healing matters. And I noticed that when I look into these things, there's more of a dominant of women having videos of soft life, having videos of empowerment. And I believe there is a huge shift in our world in that women, we're regaining that. And it is starting by just sitting with ourselves and having that moment. Like I met a 20-year-old, you know, her mom and dad, they're just to be respectful, they're dysfunctional. And she's pretty neglected and she needs the support, but she's so powerful and resilient even at 20, and she's a female doing so much for herself. And I looked at her and I'm like, wow, like we have that in us. Like no matter what happens, the storms and all, we always find ourselves back to resilience. Just through stillness, just through silence, we come our way back. And even me, when I lost my mom many a years ago, I was so overstimulated and always pressured about responsibilities, take being a mother, being a caregiver. Everything is on my plate. But I had to sit with myself, and when I had to sit with myself is when I started to grow in my spirituality. And that's when I started to, when I told you, I was reading the Bible and I was feeling disheveled. Like something isn't right. Why? Like something that I'm reading is not telling me the truth. And that's when I started to erase everything I learned and started to read things that was more geared to what I wanted to understand. And I also started to feel it in my energy, in my relationship. You understand that if you're not aligned, a lot of people, whether they're talking about psychology or they're talking about relationships, they're really talking about balancing and alignment. They always use that word balance or alignment. It's not going to be successful if it's not balanced or aligned. If there's an imbalance in anything, right? Something is going to be superior over that other thing, right? So we have to learn how to reprogram ourselves. And I believe that this is why this is so significant to me and I'm staying on so long because it's healing. And I told B Bulls, thank you and much love and respect in the comments that I'm still on my journey. I'm not healed yet. I'm still learning how to walk in femininity and lower my masculinity. I'm starting to learn how to be more still and how to check in with my emotions. Not everything has to be reactive. And I believe energetic, she rephrased that like we have to learn how to not be reactive and just step outside one moment and go within. And what does that look like if we're not shown that? It's challenging, but how could we mimic that and show it so that others can see what it looked like? How can men do it and how can women do it? And so that we create these generations that know what it looks like moving forward.
I don't remember exactly what Sensei's sentiments were, but I actually asked her that question in a live panel we had with her the other night. because I'm a very assertive personality. And I don't want to feel the need to be that way. It's just I've operated it in so long before I became awakened that it's sometimes it's a program, and I have to stop myself. But I think that that's a great question for her to ask, because she gave me an answer, but I basically paraphrased it in a way just for me to be able to instantly go within when I am very self-aware. So when I feel like I'm having a rah-rah moment or a masculine moment, what I tell myself is, this is not what I'm designed to do. So I'm going to put myself on pause, and I remove myself from it. And then I go back and deal with it at a later time when I can be more tactful. If I do come across a time where I'm not able to go back to it, I'm just going to gracefully exit and accept that I couldn't deal with it. But I'm going to applaud myself for my ability to walk away. So I'm really like in a mindset that daily I'm working, and this is with my work life. I had to leave corporate America because I was a manager. Um, and it required me to code switch, and it required me to be in my masculine energy, because I'm dealing with a lot of masculine energy at work. And unfortunately, you're to get what I need to get done, I have to be assertive, and to be soft. The With toxic masculinity, they'll run all over that. So I just got tired of that. So I basically am diligently working to create the life in which I want to live in, because I realize that I'm a God, and I'm a creator of my reality.
Thank you for
But
sharing
that's a
that.
great question to give it back to Sensei, because she did have a great answer.
Thank you so much for sharing. I mean, thank all of you for sharing. We do have someone new that just joined the panel, and I want to hear from her. Before you begin, Evolved 84, thank you for being here and for being brave enough to come up. Can you answer the question, and then you can go into what you want to say?
Hi, Sensei. First of all, thank you for having this conversation. You just came right on time. Should women be written back into creation? Most definitely. I think, and I'll just take the lead from how my awakening happened for me. It was during the lockdown. We're reading the Bible with my 6-year-old son. And at the time when I was reading the part when Adam was created, my son stopped me and he said, "Hold on, Mom, who gave birth to Adam?" And I was like, and the first thing is, this is like, I don't know, the lockdown, my anxiety was very high because it looked like the world was I didn't know where to foot. So I really wanted to up my belief and my faith. And he stopped me in my tracks, and it's like he became illuminated. I was looking at him, and I said, well, God created Adam from sand, according to what's in the Bible. Then he said, Mom, you said everything started off as a seed. So who taught Adam how to read and write? Was he like Mowgli in the Jungle Book? I didn't want to interrupt his processing, because at that point it felt like I don't know what future I was raising him up to. I didn't know what the world was going to become. So every question he had to ask, I wanted to hear it. And it was the best time, because I would say grounded, because I wasn't in the rush life of going up and down and working. So we had that time, and it was a transformational moment, because first he forced me to question what I was taught to believe. And his questions were so genuine. And then he led me down the trail of identifying how this Adam character, who was supposedly not having any knowledge, was given the huge responsibility of naming what he didn't create, including the woman. And I'm like, hold on, the God that created me didn't call me who I am. So my whole fashion of design is portrayed from a narrative of servitude, meaning I don't believe the divine who created me would call me a helpmeet. So there's so much I was really trying to unpack. And even at most on the issue of validation, because I won't lie, TikTok brought my awareness to the term of being called a pick me, or because there were so many different conversations, and it made me question where the need of my validation internally stemmed from. The first person I ever sought validation from was the male God. It wasn't from another woman, but then when I'm as a woman in society, I really look for inspiration from other women. Women inspire me. Women align so much. Like where it happens to one of us, we all resonate. I've never really been able to discern it deeply, and because I was raised in a very male-centered culture, where your how you're viewed as a woman is very much from the way you benefit your family, the way you were given, which is not a bad thing. But what you said about the missing mother, the missing nurturing, the one who gave life. Because now, as a mom, I recognize that, hold on, this story has not been acknowledged. You've already reduced the process of birth by telling it from an angle that is that is insufficient. So I went back and reread the story from my new lens, in the sense of identifying how much detail really matters to me. So what I mean, the story of creation, 7 days, a whole entire universe, birds in the sky, fishes in the sea, everything created under 7 days. Now I carried two children for 9 months, and even I was transformed. And it's like, how can you rush a process like that without really articulating the little intricate moments that went into that whole process? It's like listening to the birth story of both parents. The father would have a different angle, but the mother would have a very different angle. They both became parents, but something transformed in both of them. And it's like there's missing elements. So I would love to know what God felt like when I was being created. Did God ever have an orgasm? Sorry, it's just there were all of these hormonal in-depth elements that even when I look at nature, it speaks a different language from the one I've been handed. I feel like language is a curse. It's a limitation. Who are we to say what the sun is? My son just really unpacked a lot of things. And you know, when you were 6 years old, because he was at that phase. He's older now, but he was going through his questioning phase. You know, it's like, why is the sky blue? Why is this? Why is that? And that is the time where you're supposed to be handed the answers, and you either accept it, but you don't question further. And I got into the habit from there on to say to him, the one we don't have an answer for, we're going to put a big question mark until we find out, or until God tells us, or until it's revealed. But in the meantime, I don't know. I do not know.
That's the most powerful thing you can tell a child. I don't know. And that's the one thing most parents have a problem saying. But you just said a mouthful here. We're going to
I
stop for a
did,
second.
because you triggered so much in this conversation.
Woo! Can everybody say woo? Absolutely.
I said it like 1,000 times already.
Woo! I think we all had some MBMs in that. So let's acknowledge all the people in the live, in the chat, who had MBMs, as well as the panel, as well as me. Because every time a woman comes up here and speaks, and she is standing in a power supported by other women, we're not just speaking from just anywhere. We're channeling. We're channeling. And what she is giving is based on the energy and the support that she has in this room. She's able to tap into her knowing and give it to us. And all of us are able to do that when we connect. So this is the power of women connecting and understanding who we are. I just wanted to say that. So let's cheer for all the people who are in tune, who are in the room, who had a wow moment, a mind-blowing moment. And we're going to count down. We're going to tap the screen real quick and share the live in these next 9 seconds. I'm going to count down now. Let's go. Tap the screen. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Magical. We're at 16,000. The goal is to get to 20,000 before we get off of this live. And what we want to do is first acknowledge some of the things that Evolved 84 spoke on. First of all, let's be grateful that you did not immediately correct your son and that you listened to him, because they are our teachers. I told the story on my live last night, and we're going again live tonight at 10 o'clock. So if you can all be here at 10 tonight, Central Time. I don't know what your time zone is, but Central Time will be on at 10. And we're going to have energy recalibration, and we'll continue, some of these conversations. But what you just said about your son asking these questions and you saying, I don't know, allowed everybody to recalibrate. Because now you have to start engaging with his curiosity. The word quest is in the word question. It's the root of it. The word compass is in the root of compassion. So when we start allowing our compassion to be our compass and our questions to take us on quests, then that's when we start opening up and discovering ourselves and new things. And your son definitely planted some seeds, and he opened up that divine Sophia inside of you to speak. And now he's like, that's the mama I want to hear from. I want to hear from the woman's perspective. Yeah, we know all this other stuff, but it don't explain where everything came from. And I got some questions, mama, because this don't sound right and it don't feel right. Wow. And you said something else that made so much sense. And it really touched me. And does anybody want to comment while you have the word?
Oh no, that was awesome.
Okay. It was something else she said. It was how she responded to him. And it was about the mother. Oh, I know what it is. Thank you for the help, whoever helped me. It was the validation. The comment about we first seek validation from men. And that is so true.
Male God. Yes, the father. Yeah.
We
And
seek
you know,
validation from men.
the other
And
thing about that, the other
what
thing,
happens when he's missing?
yes, and the other thing about that, and this is where I had a bit of a tangent with the Adam and Eve story and the missing connection. Eve, her creation is still mystic, meaning, first of all, the whole idea of the rib, even if it's symbolic, it doesn't give a full enough picture of a relationship as established between God and Adam. She doesn't even say a word. So she's not even acknowledging self. I almost interpreted her pursuing the apple is seeking knowledge and connection and knowing of self. And why would God deny that? And why is it that the only way she can experience God is through the Adam? So even there's so much for me that even a lot of the women's stories in the Bible were not told from the women's perspective. So even there's an issue of a woman that has an issue of blood. And I know whoever wrote that has never had a period. So they don't know what is going on the inside of this whole experience. So it's like, I can't relate to the God that doesn't see it from my perspective, that doesn't carry the heaviness of my breast, that doesn't defeat the gravity. Like the walk is not the same, but I am portrayed, or I'm existing through the gaze of an angle that doesn't walk in my shoes. So it's already, like you said the word, imbalance. Because and I won't lie, I felt like after that season, everything shifted. I feel like even with relationships, it's all to kind of restore balance. And where I don't even know how I'm even articulating these words.
That's okay. We're going to stop for just a second and give the
Yes,
new
go on.
person who just joined an opportunity to speak. Because I do want to touch on some things that you said. Let's not forget, we're going to touch on what happens when we validate, or when our first validation in the world is from a male and that male is missing. And also we're going to touch on the Adam and Eve story. I want to share my perspective on it. But I do want to give Miss Greenlit an opportunity to come in and answer the question and then go into her spiel. So should women be written back into the creation story? Yes or no? And then you can proceed after that.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Please forgive me. I want to start off by saying thank you so much much. I am so grateful to be able to speak right now. It might get a little emotional, but I just ran out of my house and I have no shoes on and I'm walking around my house. It's probably going to take me about 2 laps to get what I have to say, but I'm going to try to keep it as simple and straightforward as I can. I'm just going to throw out words and images, and I really hope that it hits who I need to, who needs to hear this, because just being able to get it out of my throat is so freeing. I feel so much lighter just being able to say what I have experienced and what I've learned. A couple years ago, I gave birth to my baby girl in my home. I pulled her out with my own hands. It was the most pleasurable experience I've ever had in my life. I am overwhelmed with the joy and the blessings that God has poured over us, that has came through me. My baby is healthy, strong. I am healthy, strong. There is absolutely nothing that we cannot do. I saw myself being able to give birth at home. I saw an image of me being able to do that. And I started to learn more about how that was possible. And I met a woman and she was using her creative power to make signs. And I said, can you make me a sign? And she said, yes, I'll make you a sign. And the sign said, may your home birth be blessed and safe. And that's exactly what it was. I sat that sign in my room and I looked at it every single day leading up to the birth. There's so many details that I would love to share with you. I actually have not shared my story in this way yet. I started a newsletter called Learning Intentional Techniques. And it's because I needed to save myself, because I had these babies looking at me and they wanted me to teach them. They need me to teach them. And I'm still learning so much about myself. And one of the parts that I've learned is that we need to express, just like I said in the beginning about how freeing it is to be able to tell my story. I want to be able to teach the children more about that. So to go back to the question, should women be written back into the creation story? Yes or no? Excuse me, I'm sorry. I gave birth to my baby girl. I pulled her out my own hands. And when she opened her eyes, I was there. She saw me. I am the beginning of her story. It's her story, is my story. When she grows and tells people that her mom pulled her out, that's her story. And I know that it needs to be told. I know that more women need to know that they can experience a pleasurable birth.
I agree. I agree. Thank you for.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. You can
I got,
continue.
I think that's about all. There is so much more I would love to share about my experience. I did share that I have a newsletter. It's called Lit. And if it's okay with you, I would love to invite more people. I just started last year, and I'm so grateful for what you have been teaching and sharing with us, because it's not falling on deaf ears. It is information that has always been within us, and it feels so amazing to to know and see it and connect. And so I'm going to go back inside to get to my babies, but I'm still here listening. And I do plan on coming back tonight. And you've definitely inspired me to share more about the space that I'm creating. And I hope to be able to be more.
We
I
understand exactly what you're saying, sis. That's all right. You
thank
did a
you.
great job with sharing how what you're trying to say through your emotions. Sometimes when you share emotion, you don't have to say much at all. We can feel exactly what you're saying. And that's the gift of the divine woman inside of all of us. The divine feminine, that's how we speak. If we cry, you should feel what we're saying. We don't need words when we're sharing our emotions. So thank you for being able to get up here and share that with us. We all felt it. I know I did. And I'm so happy that you found your tribe. Send me a DM and we'll get together about your newsletter because I have a wide audience and we need more women connecting and helping each other grow, and let's do this. I'm looking for my team. I just created a whole app that's on the App Store. Womb Wisdom by Nourishment 101 is on Google Play and it's on your Apple Store right now. But do many women know about it? No. So we have to get together and we have to help each other rise, especially this movement of putting us back where we belong. Miss, wow, she pulled her own daughter out. We're not even gonna ask where the father was. We're not even gonna get in her business like that. But we've all been there where we've had to do it alone. And we've all been there. And maybe she wasn't alone. I'm just making an assumption here. But what it is reminding me of is that what she said, her daughter was the first person that she saw. She was the first person that her daughter saw. Her story starts with the mother. So how could she dare teach this teaching to her mother that she should pray to the father and not acknowledge the mother in creation when her mother was the first person that met her gaze when she came into this third dimension reality? She was already in whatever higher dimension and she come here and she got to be taught some creation story that doesn't acknowledge her existence. Yeah, it's going to make us feel some kind of way. It's going to make us feel some kind of way. Validation from men. The need to feel validated from a male who is absent. What do you think? How do you think that affects our relationships with men? What do you think happens to our boundaries? How quickly they dissolve when we meet someone that we're attracted to, but because we've never been validated by a male, that starts to take over and control our relationships. What happens when we're taught an Adam and Eve story where Eve is the one who commits the sin that puts humanity in a state of begging? You see how all of this affects us growing up? And it starts here. So I said I would give my perspective of the Adam and Eve story. And I'll go ahead and do that. I think I shared this last night as well, energetic flow. You may remember. But in the Adam and Eve story, we have to look at all of the elements, not just the suggestion from the snake, from the serpent, who actually represents vibration, because that's how serpents detect energy. That's how they detect movement, is from vibration. And realize also that when you go to the pyramids in Egypt, if you haven't been, you'll see that all of the pharaohs have serpents on their head, meaning enlightenment
Every
and
last
wisdom.
one of them.
So they use the serpent in the story to represent evil, but the serpent actually enlightened Eve and told her, hey, You won't die if you eat that fruit. We don't know whether it was an apple or not. We all know that fruit comes from trees, and we all know that seeds grow the tree. And we also know that the fruit doesn't fall far from the tree. So we use this symbolism in a lot of storytelling. And when you can understand the story through symbolism, then you get the message. So we have a serpent who is telling Eve that she is not going to die. As a matter of fact, if she eats the fruit, Interject, I'm gonna have you to mute the mic really quickly, if you don't mind, and then I'm gonna let you come back on and speak. It's just some background noise for me. Thank you, love. When we have the perspective of the snake suggesting that the tree is going to make her understand the knowledge of good and evil like God does, and God is suggesting, hey, don't eat that fruit. Which one is who's who? Which one is evil and which one is, what is the word good and God? Like, why do we, you know what I mean? There's a lot of questions that come up. But when you have two different suggestions, Eve decided she was going to listen to the way she felt. And the serpent represented her emotional body, her emotions, because that is the first thing that is influenced, which is why we have reactions to the outside world. It's our emotions that are influenced first. So the snake in the garden represent her emotions, and she felt that she wasn't going to die, that she should eat the fruit, and that if she eats the fruit, it's going to give her an experience that overshadow this boring existence of being told what to do and not to do. Does that make sense?
Sensei, can I say something?
Absolutely.
You've just triggered another thought in my mind. So if Adam is present when Eve was born, how, and I know the Bible doesn't indicate the age of both, neither Adam or Eve, but they do give the incentive that Eve is young. And, you know, with the, how do I put it? With any kind of fairy tale element, it works on the mind of a child, and that's why it's always good to kind of like indoctrinate your child while they're young into the mindset. So Eve, unknowing of self, doesn't know the difference between good and evil. If a snake or an animal is telling her what is good and evil, she still doesn't know. In my mind, is it that Eve is a child? And I don't know if that turns the whole thing even more, I don't know how to put it. I feel like every woman in the Bible were young. They weren't in a developed, like,
I'm going to tell you right now, you can look at the Adam and Eve story from multiple perspectives. There's not one right or wrong way to look at it. It all depends on where you are in your journey, how you see the story. And it starts revealing itself. The more you start changing the more your perception grows, the more that story changes. And you're going to see it from every angle. And I have had those different angles too. But we have to forget that Eve and Adam come in the later part of the story. The first part is Genesis 1:27, before Adam and Eve are even introduced in chapter 2, is that God was made in the or that male and female were made in the image of God. So before Adam and Eve, before that story, it says that we were made in the image of God, male and female. The Adam and Eve representation is the beginning of the physical body. Before that, we existed as vibration, as archetypal energies, masculine and feminine, electromagnetism. Electromagnetism creates the entire light spectrum. Everything that we see comes from the union of electricity and magnetism, male and female. So before we start deciphering how the physical body is made, we have to understand that these two, male and female, are not just genders. So when you look at the story again, you don't have to necessarily see man and woman. You can see structure and spirit. there has to be something to house the spirit first, which is the masculine, which is the seen, the body. And then comes the spirit to be able to move through the body. But spirit exists outside of the body, but how can you manifest spirit without a body? So that's how I interpret the Adam and Eve story now. Is just that it's showing us how life is created from vibration down into the physical, and then how we're able to go up and down this axis once we have consciousness of how it works. Now, again, that's just my way of seeing it now, where I have come to in my life. But there's so many ways to interpret it, and neither of them are wrong. It all just depends on that story is going to meet you where you are.
Sensei, can I also ask you, if you don't mind, to elaborate? You know, the point you started talking on briefly about the touching on the validation part of serving to a male god who is absent. Could you unpack that? Because it hit a nerve, but I'm trying to articulate and get my head around it.
Absolutely. And it's because you said that, and you may not even remember what you said, because you were channeling. You were speaking from pure truth and emotion.
Yeah.
And sometimes when we speak, we have to go back, and that's why I record so much when I'm channeling, because I'm teaching myself when I'm channeling. Sometimes I don't even hear what I say, and I have to go back and study what I say. We all have that ability. We all have that ability. But when we get in a room full of women who are supporting each other, it's magnified. So when you spoke and you said that our first validation is from a man, like we feel like a man needs to validate us, and that's because we're taught that a man created us. And when we don't have that man present in the home, then how do we feel validated? We go out looking for it outside of ourselves.
Yes.
And
I'm connecting it. And that was where I asked the question of why it wasn't God who named Eve a woman. It was Adam. Yes. Yes, that's where. All right. Okay. I'm gonna run it back. No. It hit a nerve. Keep going. Keep going.
Can I say something
so,
really quickly?
sure.
Because I'm absorbing all of this and I'm thinking about what Evolve is asking. And I'm thinking about different contexts because we're touching base on religious contexts, right? And when I think about the story of Adam and Eve, and I'm gonna take my time because there's so much to unpack. I do agree with you, Sensei, too. But I just believe that the story is magical. I do not believe that this story is a story that can even be understood unless you understand magic and understand that they both were created simultaneously and they both have a role that's significant to the world and that we all are in tune with nature. That's why the body is able to heal more significantly with things that are from nature. That's why we speak to the land. That's why we are in tune with our ancestors. No matter how much we fight it, our lack of awareness of it, it happens regardless. Some way, somehow, we are able to heal ourselves, right? So the story has never really resonated for me, and it's always been challenging for me to accept, even since I was a young girl when I felt like religion was imposed on me. I just felt like I don't get this. I really can't comprehend what's happening. And I'm very grateful to the God within me because that was my self awareness. And that was the God in me letting me know this is not the truth. This is not your truth. This is a rewritten truth. And then my question right now is why both male and female were created simultaneously. But when we end up having that consciousness, what triggered the male to want us to feel to be inferior? Who triggered that? And we have to start asking ourselves, who triggered that? Why did they want to be superior? When did power and control happen? And those are not in stories that are in the Bible. Sometimes it is in some contexts you could kind of like read between the lines, but I feel like a lot of people talk about the Ethiopian Bible, and it's still a challenge for me because I'm always going to think about Is there a colonizer behind this? But at the same time, we have to read a lot of context to kind of unravel our history and what happened primitively so that we can understand and why things went left. Because what happened and why it went left is why we're here today.
Respond to what she said because she asked a good question.
There is someone who's waiting to speak, and I'm going to let her speak, and then we can go back to you. So we'll go ahead and go to energetic flow. She wanted to chime in.
Okay, I'll try to make it quick. I just wanted to say, like, this story, I think the disconnect for a lot of people, unfortunately, is that they're taking the story as a literal story, and the
Yes.
story is symbolic. Eve eating the fruit was never about sin. It was about the feminine energy awakening her consciousness through her kundalini. She chooses awareness, and once she chooses the awareness, it activates her fully. The story was later twisted intentionally to pretty much scare women into submission and into obedience to do what the patriarch wanted them to do. But yeah, it really is not a literal story. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you for chiming in on that. And did you want to continue Evolved 84?
No, I mean what Energy's just said now just adds another layer of perspective.
Yes.
It's with the question Divine asked as to why, first of all, why was the mother not included in the first place, where the power of multiplying comes from. Like the seed cannot multiply itself. It needs to be grounded, it needs to be planted, right? But the identity and ownership of the mother it's I don't know how to put it. I feel like submission is the other way around, meaning
That's okay. Take your time, and it's going to come to you.
Yeah.
I will answer this while you're gathering your thoughts. What energetic flow just articulated is what we've been trying to say the entire time, is that everything exists in symbolism and in vibration before it descends into this three-dimensional world. And the Adam and Eve story is no different. It's something that you understand on a symbolic level first. Yes, we use a lot of parables in order to understand how nature and reality works around us. So the stories in the Bible, when you stop looking at them from a literal perspective, you'll see the higher meaning inside of all of it. Adam and Eve is just another way of saying that there are two different energies that create life. At the very top, there's an Adam and then there's an Eve. There's a male and then there's a female that descended from the archetypal energy of masculine and femininity. All right. And so if we descended from that, then God has to be unity. God has to be unity. And the first place where unity comes together is in a womb. The first place where masculine and feminine energy come together and agree on creating life is in a womb. So what is space? What is earth? Where do we live? Where our thoughts can be manifested into a reality, we must be in some type of chamber, some type of womb. Because everything that we think and feel can be created into this world. So that is our archetypal, that is our beginning. That is our beginning. The word matrix means womb in Latin. The word chamber means camera. So any type of dome, even when you see the arc of the rainbow, all right, it's an arc. It's a dome shape. That means something is being recorded here. It's a law. It is written. What is that symbology of the rainbow trying to tell us about light and harmony and how it shows up and maybe how our own emotions and thoughts bend space and time. Like there's so much that you can get from this story that it doesn't have to just be about a man and a woman and who was created first, but what is it telling us about how we got here?
What's that movie called with the kids with the emotions? Is it called Inside?
Frequency?
You guys know about that movie? It's about emotions. And
Oh, I know what you're talking about. It's a cartoon.
yeah, it just resonated with me because when I was thinking about the story of Adam and Eve, right? Even though I take it as a magical story, I started to think about consciousness and I started to think about the emotion of jealousy, right?
Inside Out. Yep, put
Inside
that in the
out,
chat.
inside out. And so I thought about the emotion of jealousy, right? Because it had to be something with jealousy that occurred that swifted this story to be the way it is. Because let's keep it honest, like regardless of race, race was a created thing. We were all one, right? Human beings. So someone had to be, I don't know, something had to trigger some reactivity that, it's like, let's make them inferior. Because if you look at the story, why Eve had to be the one to sin? And why was sin used as a law to weaponize people, and be brutal? Sin, the word sin is such a big thing. And they made sure that woman specifically was to be the sinful one in the beginning. And so that programming, and so Evolve, I resonate with how you feel and trying to reprogram yourself and understand like, well, how did this happen and why did that happen? And how do we reprogram this story? And how do we teach our children this? Because this is all messed up, right?
Hence this whole live. It's all messed up. Exactly. Energetic flow. Did you want to chime in?
I just wanted to ask the question in regards to who taught us to have as many emotions as we have. Because have you ever saw the emotional chart?
I think once or twice, but yeah, it's very limiting, right?
Yeah, but they have a lot of emotions, that's listed on there. But no one asks, like, when at the beginning of creation, did we have all of those emotions, or were we taught that, or were we created in peace when we were created originally, before the world began to tell us what we were billions and trillions of years ago? Did they have? Because when you start going down that esoteric rabbit hole, all of these emotions, these different emotions, they don't exist, so they're constructs.
I think that we're born with the capacity to feel deeply, whatever we choose based on our experience of life. So I think the emotions are born there. They may be dormant until something brings it out. So when we start going through life, we may come across a situation where we feel anger and we needed a word to be able to describe what that feeling meant.
Mm-hmm.
But we all have the capacity to feel very deeply. I believe there's more emotions to the chart that we can't even put into words.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree with that. I just wonder how much influence that they have in regards to us labeling these emotions and the descriptions that we're giving to them.
Absolutely.
I kind of
I
want
think
to, can I chime in? Energetic, that question is a great question. And when you're speaking about, you said, what if those emotions didn't exist and we was just all at peace? Let's think about that, right? Because when we're at the level of peace, that's when we're most magical, right? That's when we're able to move more and be in our highest abilities and manifest more. So when you ask that question, I'm like, what if we weren't emotional, and what if we were just at peace, and that's why we were able to create the way we were creating?
I don't think we were ever emotionless. We've always been energy and motion. But when I think about something Sensei mentioned about how we had to reach a level in consciousness where we started using words. We were originally telepathic.
right.
So it just led me to wonder, like, it's
It
just,
could have
I
been.
mean, once you start talking and you get together with all women, we start birthing, and I mean, the
No.
questions is endless. It's just, I'm like over here, and I'm just like, y'all talking about emotions, and I'm like, if we were originally created perfectly with everything that we need and the balance and all of that before we got to where we are now, did they attempt to influence that as well? Because I'm telling you, some of the, if anyone has time, just look at the emotional chart. There are so many descriptions, and I'm like, damn, I've never used more than a handful of these emotions, but it's so many things. It's like they're programming our subconscious to put labels on things. Sometimes, do I have to give it a label, or do I just sit with it? And then it gives me the information that I need. Why do I have to? I guess I would say that I just think that with the divine feminine, they know how powerful we are, and they want us to stay more so in our head than our ocean of feelings.
And to be honest, I'm a previous educator, and in the morning time, we have to do
Yeah.
with the students, we have to show them the emotional charts. And in different, on different
Wow.
websites, they might have different emotional charts, and they're always colorful. And I see that children have a hard time with sometimes describing what that feeling is. And for me, because I love children, I tell them, okay, be still with it. It's okay. It is okay if you don't know if you're happy, if you're sad, or what that even feels like right now. It's too much to consume right now. Don't worry about it. But I feel like that is another system to have them overthinking in their heads about, how am I feeling? What am I feeling? Is it okay to feel that? Is it good to feel that? How do I react? You understand? Just calm down. Be at peace with whatever you're feeling at the moment. Be inward.
But
And
even peace is an emotion, right?
yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's not a bad emotion or a good emotion. I feel like they also try to teach kids that word anger, oh my God, it's a bad emotion. You get me? And I try to teach children that it's not. It's emotion. It's not a flaw. It's just about knowing how to navigate in any emotion. And there's no specific way to be, but which way is damaging to your soul, right? Which
I
which
want to
which
acknowledge something in the comments really quickly. Um, is it Bibles? Is that how you say it? Bibles just said, I didn't peep that the word door meant the door of the mind. Because anytime you put ment behind something, it stands for mental. But the word dormant is literally telling you that it's the door to the mind when something is not able to be expressed. Now, back to energetic flow's question, before we get too far from it, she was asking like, where does emotion? Why does the label of these different emotions, does it support us or does it further deconstruct us? Basically, am I asking the question right? Is it building us or
Right.
is it separating us? Like, what is
Or
this?
is it enslaving us? Because
So
the current enslavement that we're dealing with is not our physical vessel, it's our mind.
Right.
Can I?
So before we move forward, let me just respond to that, and then I'm gonna let you talk. I do want to hear what you have to say. I think that when children come into the world, they express emotion more purely and more raw in its natural form. There are no words for emotions, and I think that is the first language. So I believe that putting labels on those emotions are ways for us to try to understand the communication, even though if we just listen to the emotion itself, we understand everything. It's the reading and the writing that was, they said, given to humanity as to try to destroy us. Because the moment we start reading and writing, that was the moment we stopped being intuitive. The moment where we started putting labels on things is the moment where we stop understanding emotion in its purest form, which is communication. So now because we don't express emotion enough and we suppress it, we don't know what it looks like when someone is expressing emotions. And we always get confused when they have reactions to something that we do if we don't understand what emotion is behind that reaction. Where is it coming from? And most of the time, the reason people react the way that they do is because the emotion has been suppressed. So yes, if I've been taught, and it goes back to if I've been taught to shut up as a child when I'm expressing myself in my purest, rawest form, and you can't accept me and receive me for what I'm showing you, and I got to put it in words just for you to understand, now I have to go through your narrow perspective to be able to communicate, because we can no longer communicate with the way that I was brought in learning how to communicate, which is through the way I feel. I'm showing you how I feel when I cry. Let's first acknowledge that crying is the first form of I'm telling you how I feel and I can't put it into words. So emotion is felt. It's a felt experience. And when we cut off ourselves from being able to feel, then we cut ourselves off from the whole language of the universe that is unseen. And now we have to break it into these labels and seen world, which is being filtered through the masculine, because the feminine is just pure expression. So I'm open to hearing how anyone else wants to respond, but that's my take. That's just my take.
Sensei, you don't know what you've just done. You've planted a seed in me. I feel like I'm lost in translation. First of all, when you initially said that we were telepathic, meaning we didn't have language, therefore the other ways our ancestors expressed was through symbolism. So they drew what they saw, or they found images, whether it was animals, birds, etc., to represent their feelings. Now, language, if I can articulate this the best way I can, you know, when they say you lose your mother tongue, you lose the mindset because the language reflects the way of thinking. Now, when I don't know how to, I'm Nigerian. This my origin language is very symbolic in its expression. So we talk with our bodies a lot, and there are certain phrases that if I said it in Yoruba, there's a feel and a spirit and energy behind it that would feel so diluted if I was to say it in English. Something would be missing. Hence why, let's say in Islam, for you to read the Quran, you have to learn their origin language, else the potency and the power behind the words may not be as effective, and they don't want to lose that tongue. So now when you, oh my God, I'm gonna stop. I gotta channel.
That's okay. No, you're definitely going in a direction that it's all connected. And that's why it's so hard to not go from one subject to another, because language, especially in English, all of the vowel, the divine tones are cut off by consonants. Every single word has a vowel in it. And the root of vowel is a vowel. That is pure energy, movement of energy. When I say, oh, ow, this is how we express emotion, through the vowels. That's why they're sacred. And they're typically not written down because they're so sacred. But what we did was we wrote the vowels back in, but we encased them in between consonants that close the vowel sound off. So a lot of English words are cut off. It cuts the breath off. Spirit has to flow through words and sound. Our lips shape sound. And so these words have been removed. The tone of what we spoke has been changed and removed from our vocabulary, from our teaching, so that we continue to trap these sacred vowel sounds, trap our emotions in between these harsh syllables and consonants. So it's all connected. And again, we're just flowing. We're just going with it. What I know is going to come out, because of the conversations that we're having. And it's going to trigger something inside of each one of you, and it's going to light something up. That's the whole point of being able to get together and have communion. This is divine communion. To have a place where we can hold these conversations and where we can light up the darkness inside of somebody else and inside of ourselves. Listen to what's coming to you right now. Listen to what is forming inside of you. Sometimes it comes before you're able to even speak it out loud. But listen to it first, and then it will give you the words to speak it through divine breath, which is feminine. We're the ones that are going to speak our mind. We're not ones to hold back. And this is why we're not good at following people. And this is why we're not good at being given orders from a man. It's not in our nature. We're the wild ones. We're the ones that they made to look like the devil. Everything about the devil is literally everything about a woman. Everything from the horns to the color red to the wildness to the disobedience. Yeah, we're not meant here to be here to take orders from a man.
Ashe.
That's not our nature. So we're going to rebel, yes. The most divine things in nature have horns. You mean to tell me a deer is evil? Or a moose? Or the tusk, an elephant? You mean to tell me these divine creatures? So what are they painting a picture of in our mind? That anything that's wild, that can't be tamed, is evil? We're going to sit with that for a second.
Control.
Did you have something you
Sensei,
wanted
that
to
was
say?
good.
Thank you. It's all connected, and sometimes we get lost in translation because we're like, wait a second, things are popping off. We're like, wait, oh my God, I need to. It's coming in like it should. Allow yourself to sit with it, and it is going to start speaking for itself. It's just going to come out of you.
There was another lady. There's a lady that just joined. What's her name?
Say I'm crying. I'm in a flood of tears. I don't know why. I really don't know why. Because it's a lot, and it's like it's so heavy on my chest. And look, I don't even know. I feel like I really want a connection or feel whatever the void is, and I feel like it's all gonna come in the right time. But I feel so emotional about it right now. I feel so lost.
That's a good place to be. Feeling lost is a good place to be. And the reason you feel emotion is because emotions, and they have the ability to speak to us before words come. So that's the first language being activated inside of you. And it's a beautiful language. And to understand emotion is to understand ourselves. We don't have to necessarily put labels to it. We just need to understand what it's telling us, or understand where it's telling us, what it's telling us. But definitely, if someone is able to bring an emotion out of you, keep in mind, because emotions are so powerful, they can also come out without structure. And that's where divine masculine comes in. We need something to help us guide the emotion. We need something to help us structure the emotion so that it can be shared. And that's where language comes in. Because some people aren't able to pick up when we suppress our emotions, and we have a religion and a traditional culture. When we label it as culture, first of all, the root word of culture is cult. What has our culture embedded in us? And every single one of us come from a culture that oppresses the feminine, whether they realize it or not. We've all been suppressed, and the reason it's so powerful is because you're being validated right now.
Sensei, this is
Yes.
another topic for another day, so I'm not even bringing this up, but it just resonated with me. So my whole thing is with women love to talk about the oppression of us by men. Another day, another topic. I'm not trying to start another topic, but we need to definitely deal with at some point the oppression of each other.
Yes.
I agree. And you know what? Energetic is so crazy that you bring that up because my energy just now, you know that motto, say their names, and it was for the black people that was lynched. But instead I was saying names of queens that did so much in history. Queen Nanny, the Haitian Revolution, the queen that led us to a whole revolution, the warriors, the Amazon warriors. We need to start highlighting women in a better way and not only thinking about the struggles but also highlighting the good that we did because those are the things that are suppressed too. That's who we are. You understand? We are leaders. And the reprogramming is to let us know that we're not and we really are, and it's like they can't fight it, but we know within who we are, and a lot of us are lost, and it's okay, you get me, everybody can't be saved, but it's like who gets reached is a blessing. And this is why this is such a blessing because we have a panel. We had two men on here today, right? And they both were aligned with us all. And that means that there are people that are outliers that are aligned with us ladies. And as me, I follow Sensei already, but I think that we should definitely connect and continue to connect with each other. I love the fact that everybody is themselves too, and that we allow everybody to be authentically themselves because that's also suppressed. And it's important for us to understand that ourselves is what is impactful and what brings out these things. So evolve these emotions. I appreciate it because I felt it so much. And that other young lady that was talking about her birth, I felt every emotion. Like she walked me through her
Oh
entire
yeah.
journey. And
Yeah.
so I love that you ladies are just authentically yourself because we all come with our own set of abilities and our own set of acknowledgement, but we're all aligned in the same very, very, very notion that we are creators and we are powerful and we need to start acknowledging that power. We need to start spreading that word and educating our children and our community and bringing more people that are like us on board to continue to connect like this.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I think Nurse Kim came up. We never heard from you, dear. Are you still up? Nurse Kim was here last night too, so I definitely want to hear her from her if she
I'm
wants to come up
here.
and say something.
Hello, everyone. Y'all don't know how freeing, how healing this has been for me. Can y'all hear me?
We can.
I really came up since Kai. You have been in the last 2 days. You don't even know how much you have been an inspiration to me. And last night, you had us do an exercise.
Mike went out and we're not able to hear anything.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can now, yes.
So last night you had us do an exercise because I tell you I'm fighting with the flesh so heavily right now. Um, and I woke up today and I haven't had a period in 9 years, and I don't know what's happening, but
Woo!
it is very overwhelming. Um, I don't feel angry, upset. I don't even know how I feel. I just feel I'm just present right now. And that's really what I came up to tell you. I don't want to really go into a bunch of what I'm going through right now, but that's what I came up to say.
Wow. Well, thank you for coming up and sharing that. Are you saying that you got your period after 9 years after last night?
So I had a hysterectomy. So that's why I'm like, I don't even know what is going on, but I told you that um, my body is really in an unwell state. Um, and they are definitely from repressed emotions. I know y'all can hear me right now. I'm so sensitive.
Um, Thank you for your vulnerability. Sensei, do you do anything with like womb healing? Because that's what
I
I'm picking
do.
up that she
I do.
needs.
I do. And I'll tell her how to
Okay.
get there. I just want to really create a space right now for her to be able to get out how she feels.
Um, no, I really feel fine, guys. I just am dealing with a lot of issues from not trusting myself. And I tell myself every day I want to do something better about not trusting myself. And I fall right back into the patterns, the repeating patterns. And I don't know what it is.
Right now, y'all, I might be having some glitches in the connection. So if we get lost, just know we'll be back tonight at 10 if it goes out. But while we still have airtime, Nurse Kim, you have been attending every live that I've had so far, and you have been having one MBM after another. For those who don't know what MBM means, it's mind blowing moment. And so I knew that you were going to start. I told you, I said, you're going to be different when you wake up in the morning. Do you remember me saying that?
I do.
And we did do a breathing exercise. We
Hmm.
did an energy recalibration exercise. So yes, I do womb healing, and I also do energy recalibration, which if you click the link in under my profile picture, you have to hit the profile picture and go to my page, and there's going to be a link there, and it will take you to schedule a womb healing session or an energy recalibration session. And what we're doing is we're acknowledging where there's imbalance. We know that something is not aligned. The fact that they're taking our uterus as the solution instead of allowing us to be realigned tells you that they know the power of the uterus. They know the power that a woman holds. Her, not just the creation power of a baby, like I said, but also her creative energy stems from her uterus. That's the first place where, again, energies come together to be one, to unite. She holds the birthing center of creation. So for her to be left out of the creation story is wild. It's absolutely wild. But just because you had a hysterectomy doesn't mean that you don't have the energetic flow that still exists inside of you from the from your uterus. Just because they took the organ, they can't take the energy. And so what you're experiencing right now is like what we said, when one thing is removed, another one kicks in. And that's exactly what's happening. Like you can't remove an organ and say, "Oh, she's no longer a woman." We were a woman before we all became physical. So at the end of the day, I wanted to acknowledge the fact that yes, you may have been experiencing some things and your uterus was speaking to you and you just didn't understand the language. And even though it's gone now, you understanding is still connecting with your uterus. You understanding how you feel and tapping back into that is making you whole even without the organ. Does that make sense?
It does. It
So
does.
there's no part of you that's missing. See yourself as whole always. See yourself as whole. And anything that came up from last night, make sure you write it down and sit with it. Make sure you acknowledge what wants to be said. The reason our uterus gets backed up is because we don't acknowledge how we feel. And that is the feminine essence. Feeling, the feeling world, the unseen world, the dark world that you have to feel your way through because you can't see it until you bring it into the light.
Absolutely. I'm highly aware of everything. I don't know. It's like really, really heightened. I don't even understand it.
Because you already know it, like you said, there, we're just saying it out loud. And sometimes that validation is more than we think it is. To be seen, felt, and heard, it weighs heavy. We just
Yes.
want to be acknowledged that we exist. And you can't erase us from existence, which is what I think this is trying to do. This is trying to erase us from existence. But we're here, and we're the ones who started it.
Yeah, that's absolutely it. And it doesn't help that I work in a field where you really have to, the compassion, I'm very empathetic for everyone. So sometimes I feel like I have the weight of the world on my shoulders, but it's a lot.
Especially
And
if you're
not,
doing it
yeah,
alone.
yeah, and I do. I do. I've been alone all my life. I've never had friends. I've always been to myself. And it has been freeing, it has been healing, but it has also felt isolated.
I do understand. You know what? I think that when you have the gift of being alone, you get to know yourself a lot better.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely know who I am, and I fight with myself every day. It's been me versus me for years.
But Camilla said it. I think that's how you say we are made to be in tribes. Now, everybody, we all want unity at the end of the day. We all want balance and we want love. I think the problem is that we don't understand what love is because it's been labeled as romantic or some other stuff. But love is acceptance, and it starts with accepting yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we've all made mistakes and we've all done things that weren't in alignment with our higher selves. I mean, that's growing up. That's called learning. But at the end of the day, we can forgive ourselves. It starts there when we start forgiving ourselves and we start trusting ourselves and we say what we mean. So
No,
if
I
anyone,
definitely will be booking a session with you because this is farther. This is a lot more than what I can speak on here.
understood, love, understood. Well, it's coming up on 2:30, and I definitely want to have some energy for tonight's
Yes,
live at 10.
absolutely,
So
because I want to tune in.
we're at 25,000 likes, and I think we'll have more people join tonight. Share the live, get it out. I'm probably going to put a message up about the live so that more people know about it. But I would absolutely want to honor the ladies in the panel and say thank you for being here from the beginning. Both of you are divine. Both of you are obviously, if you weren't needed here, you wouldn't have been. So thank you for your energy and for sharing yourselves with us.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much too. And I just want to shower you ladies with love, light, peace, and healing. And thank you so much, Sensei, for giving us this space. That's so important for us.
Thank you. I received that. Did you want to say anything before closing out energetic flow?
No, I just love the energy, love the vulnerability, love the safe space, love the connections, and just bid everybody peace and abundance and love and light and harmony. in the meantime, and just give yourself grace. No matter what you're going through, give yourself grace. Give your inner child that unconditional love. And we will see you soon.
Beautiful, beautiful way to end it. Thank you so much. And we will see y'all tonight at 10 o'clock. So